This is the time of the year when you must perform. I noticed Gerard Sholly, the recruiting officer for Collingwood Football Club, in the crowd here. This is the time of the year when players really have to stand up.
Noel Judkin's also gone across to Collingwood as well, so he'll be here somewhere. Ken, North Adelaide, their form last week wasn't too good against Norwood, 55 point. They were in the game till half-time and then just let it float away.
Well, they did, and they lost probably their best playmaker in Tim Noonan, left the ground at half-time, and, when the game got willing, North Adelaide basically went missing, so they really have a lot to play for today. The double chance also they are playing for, but I think the Bulldogs, whilst they've only won one game out of the last month, I think they, the spies tell me they've been training very, very hard out at Elizabeth Oval, so in preparation for the finals. If they've eased up a little this week, the track as it is out here today at Prospect, I think we could see a surprise win by the Bulldogs. I think they would have to start underdogs, but I think they might take the points.
You're tipping the Bullies. Fair enough, Ken, as we go down to Mark Nailey on the boundary. Mark, it's fair to say perhaps that mid-year you thought only one side could win the flag. Now maybe there's realistically 5 contenders.
Yeah, at least that, David. I mean, look at the sides there at the moment. Any one of those 5 sides could win that grand final day. I mean, look at Norwood at the moment. Very, very impressive last week. They lost 2 players, and McIntosh and also Rose. So they're going to be a little bit undermanned possibly coming to the finals next week. But as you said, any of the top 5 sides could win the game.
Now, who are you going to tip today? The Bulldogs for you or North Adelaide?
Well, I reckon today, just looking at it, I mean, the Bulldogs got a couple of players back. I reckon they might just sneak home by around about 2 or 3 goals.
Fair enough. Rob Popplestone joins us. You think, like Mark Nailey, there's 5 teams that can win the flag, Rob?
There's absolutely no way 5 teams can win this flag, that's for certain. There's only one team, of course, that's basically got the score on the board. That's Norwood. They're heads and tails, to my mind, above anyone else, and they'll certainly win the premiership this year. Who'll be runner-up is going to be a tough one, however, because Port Adelaide, of course, have been out of sorts. Central's the last month you touched on, and both North and Sturt have been in good form basically from mid-season.
Well, Rob, the man that you put the knife into early in the season has retired as coach of the Eagles. Bruce Winter today coaches the Eagles for the last time after taking them to the 1993 flag, which must have been a highlight for him.
Oh, look, there's no question it was a highlight for Bruce Winter. If we look at this grand final back in 1993, it was a sensational performance by the Eagles this year, and certainly it's one of Bruce Winter's fondest memories. And of course, he's already stated that he doesn't really want to coach senior football again, and after you win a premiership, I'm not sure that you need to either. But look, he'll be missed down there at the Eagles, but it's time for the Eagles to move on to bigger and better things. And I'm not sure that I stuck the knife into him, Dave, but certainly I've got a lot of respect.
You gave it a bit of a turn when it was in, perhaps.
I just let everyone know the knife was there, and just to be wary of it. Look, Bruce Winter's been sensational. He's a man's man, and he's respected by everyone down at the Eagles.
And there were 3 prime candidates for his replacement this morning in the paper. Rod O'Reilly was one, Peter Banfield the other one, and Danny Caven the other. What's your mail from the Eagles camp?
I actually caught up with Peter Banfield during the week, had a word to him about the Eagles coaching job. He said that he wouldn't be interested in the position. My mail is that Rod O'Reilly is front runner for the job.
Fair enough. Bruce Winter, statistically, certainly the Eagles' most successful coach in the last 10 years. And there his playing record: 173 games with Sturt, 178 games with Norwood, 2 state games, which is a pretty impressive record in itself. And Ken, if you look at him as a coach, with Norwood he won the 88 and 90 reserves, and he was runner-up in 89. But look at the statistics with the Eagles.
Well, he's a proven performer, and as Robbie said, he is a man's man. He's a terrific fellow. And, it'll be sad that his last game today, but it comes for everybody, and I think Bruce can hold his head up high, and I think the Eagles can be thankful for his contribution.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Well, great record, though, is it, for a side really that has been down certainly this year, and I think this year really has belted into his stats. Well, the other big topic, of course, was violence in the SANFL. The AFL have stated they're going to clean up their game. This week we had a couple, or certainly last week, we had a couple of incidents at Norwood Oval that we needed to just have a look at. Jason Miller suspended for 5 weeks when he took out Tim Davis in this contest.
Yes, we can certainly see the round arm there, and probably she's just desserts, I suppose. There's no doubt about that one, is there?
They're the ones we want to see out of sport, don't we, Ken?
Yep.
A real problem. Well, the other one, of course, was Jarman. He was sent off with the blood rule, but this is what happened just moments before. Now he gets donged. Darren Wolfer gets reported and suspended during the week for a week. Jars goes off with a cut above the eye. Not too happy. Now, you report the retaliator?
Well,
bang. Got him with the elbow. Just shaking the tackle, he'd say.
Yeah, you could.
What about that?
It would be a big loss to them, wouldn't he, with McIntosh already out?
All right, trial by video. Is it something we need to step on the juice in South Australia, or just leave the status quo? Generally, I think the tribunal here's got it about right.
Yes, I would agree with that, David. Look, there's going to be incidents which are missed by the umpires, and trial by video perhaps can catch that player out, but is it necessary? Perhaps not at this level.
We might throw this one past Mark Naylor. You saw this incident with Paul McCormick in the half-forward flank at Norwood Oval, Mark.
Yeah, I did, David. That was pretty close. It was a fairly heavy contact there.
So that's the other one. That's the middle one. Nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
There's nothing wrong with that. Danny Morton's there to be hit. He was lined up. The player was committed at the football. He came through pretty hard off the back line. He was just there. The player took the ball. What else could the player do?
No, I think you're fair right. The one we were referring to, there was one very similar to Jason Miller in the half-forward flank. I think Paul McCormick can be very thankful he's not sitting out this week as well. Well, Michael Noonan will talk more on that at half-time, about violence in sport and whether the tribunals are getting it right or wrong. So stay with us at half-time. Michael Noonan's thoughts, I can tell you this week, are very interesting. Meanwhile, as we go to the premiership table here in the SANFL, Norwood sits on top, Ken, looking like, for all intents and purposes, flag favourites.
Well, no doubt that they are flag favourites, but for mine, with the McIntosh factor missing, I think they're too soft. I think they'll have to prove a little different over the next few weeks to get my vote for premiership. Port Adelaide, you can never write them off. The Bulldogs, I think, with their training program, look, and will have to win today to be on schedule. But having Sturt and North Adelaide really added something to this SANFL this year.
We might put Mark Naylor on the spot. Mark, can a side like North Adelaide win it from 5th position like Norwood did in 1984?
Well, they've got a couple of players out today that we've mentioned also with Tim Noonan. We just see Tim Perkins still running around here in the B grade here this afternoon, but they need their best side if they're going to challenge Norwood or Port or even Centrals. As we go to the leading goal kickers, James West will take the medal this year. 71-23, pretty accurate kicking as well.
It's tremendous, and his transition from Glenelg has certainly was proven fruitful for the Redlegs. Parker, who will play here today, has been a tremendous focal point for the Roosters, and I think that's good to see North Adelaide with two prominent goal kickers.
Well, congratulations to James West on taking out the Ken Farmer medal. We'll present that at Football Park Convention Centre, Magary Medal Night, September 16th. Join us at 8:30 on the ABC for that. In other matches today, Norwood and Port, very important game, psychologically, Ken, at least for Port Adelaide.
Yes, we seen the game at Alberton Oval earlier in the year, which was set for a blockbuster, and Port Adelaide were able to roll the Redlegs in that one. When it really got willing, they were able to go all over the top of them. However, today at the parade, it will be a different story. But again, I'll emphasise the McIntosh factor missing from the Redlegs.
Sturt and West Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. Sturt will finish in 4th and play North Adelaide in the elimination final. Now, Mark Naylor, the Eagles and South play for the Woodens. Rob Popplestone on the boundary. Eagles and South, we know, are playing for the Wooden Spoon.
They are indeed. I suppose both clubs obviously not wanting to get that award, if you can call it that, of a wooden spoon. The Eagles, of course, would want to go out on a good note, wouldn't they, of Bruce Winter's last game as senior coach. South Adelaide, however, have been in mighty good form over the last few weeks, and I'm sure that they'll start today's game as favourites.
I think that's probably fair, Rob. Head-to-head, Central and North have met twice this year, and there they are in round 6 at Elizabeth Oval. A tight contest. The Bulldogs came from behind. North Adelaide all bar had it stitched up, and the Bulldogs kicked 2 late goals in time on to snatch that game. And in round 11 at Port Pirie, Central walloped them by 32 points. Conway got 4 for Central. Cotton kicked 3. Parker and Squire were the leading goal kickers with 3 each. As we go down to the locker room, and there's the North Adelaide rooms, Ken. Great facility here. You were down there earlier having a chat with the coach.
Yes, they were. Chris McDermott, the coach of the Roosters, really excited about today, and there was a good atmosphere in the rooms. There was a good blend of experience and youth in the Roosters lineup, and they really did look poised, if you like, for a good performance. Their rooms are excellent. The standard is terrific. The coach's room is well set out, and the trainers were all in good spirit.
Richard Gerke with the ball, and Jason King there. Well, early in the week I caught up with Magary medal favourite Danny Morton for this interview. Danny, your recent form has been pretty good. You must be very confident going into today's game.
Yeah, definitely. We always go into the game pretty confident, but yeah, our form hasn't been too bad.
You've struggled against Central this year, though. You've lost 2 games, one by a close one, and up at Port Pirie there was a bit of a blowout, and they came from behind both times.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that's a bit frustrating. You seem to be in control and then lose it come last quarter. But I think we've matured a little bit since then. We've beaten Norwood and beat Port, and I think that should hold us in good stead.
Now the loss of Tim Noonan is a big blow today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got guys. We've got a good on-ball division at the moment, and we've got good second string centres with Jason King, and Chubby O'Loughlin can get in the centre square and mess it with them. So we're we can cover that.
your goal-to-goal line is very impressive, one of the best in the competition.
Yeah, definitely up and down the spine. We're fantastic. Timmy Davis, Mark Hollett, Glenn Sanford, centre forwards catching them all, and Brendan Parker. He's fantastic options.
Mr. McDermott, obviously very keen to make sure that your physical presence is felt. You've always been a strong running side, but he's introduced a much harder aspect to your game this year.
Yeah, definitely. It's that's one aspect he's really enforced, and I think it's holding us really well at the moment. We're able to mess it physically, and we're just as good, if not better, than most in the running aspect of things.
And that really was Danny Morton, despite what the sign said. Ken, they have got a great running side, but they will miss Tim Noonan. You touched on that at the top of the show.
Yes, it'll be up to Morton and others, and as you said, that second string of players to really lift their standard and their rating. As you see they're coming to their lineup there. The player that's impressed me greatly this year is Davis at centre-half back. I think he's been a real find for the Roosters. Gerke in the middle has been a real strength for them, as has Viney, and Sanford at centre-half forward. Of course, Parker, we mentioned, leading the goal kicking, but their running is very strong, North Adelaide. They do handball it, and they do work a lot more, I think, now, under the coaching Chris McDermott, to the inside and up the centre.
Rosenboom named in a forward pocket. He's rucked beautifully the last 3 weeks. Herbert, who's played in a forward pocket, named in ruck. I wonder whether Rosenboom's completely fit.
Well, I think it really doesn't matter. Well, it matters if he's completely fit, of course, but I think whether they start them in the ruck or vice versa, they'll probably find themselves playing in both positions throughout the course of the day.
Okay,
Rosenboom is a vital player for their finals chances.
As we go down to the central rooms and have a look at the Bulldogs warming up. Cramped old room here at Prospect. Difficult for all the players to stretch out, Ken.
Yes, it's very cramped, and there's no doubt about that. That's one of the more disappointing factors of SANFL football.
Stevie Wright would be feeling a bit of the pressure. 3 losses in the last 4 weeks. He needs winning form going into the finals.
Well, he does. In previous 2 years, the Bulldogs have finished as minor premiers. This year it will be a different approach for them, and he has trained them very, very hard over the last few weeks in the heavy ground out at Elizabeth with all this rain. But I think if they've lightened up, they really could come into the finals with a bit of skipping in their legs.
Fair enough. Jared Cotton, of course, is back today. The central half forward is back to bolster the Bulldogs forward zone. I caught up with him on Thursday night. Jared, the last month has been very disappointing for Central.
Certainly has. We've lost to the 2 bottom teams, which hasn't been a good start coming into the finals, but we've been working pretty hard on the track lately. Steve's been working us really hard. I think that's made us a bit flat, but coming up to the finals, I think we'll freshen up a bit and we'll look forward to it.
Coach claims that skills will let you down in recent weeks. Is that part of the hard fitness regime on the track?
I think so. Everyone's a bit flat, and when they get out on the ground, they're looking flat, and they're just not hitting the targets coming into the forward line. I haven't been playing the last couple of weeks, but being a forward, I'd hate to be down there at the moment. The ball's just hitting the ground or it's going over the top, and it's been terrible.
Well, after 2 losses to the 2 bottom teams, how's the confidence at the club?
I think the confidence has never gone. We all know that the finals are coming up, and the finals are completely different to the minor round, and we've been there the last couple of years now, so we're pretty experienced, and so I think that'll help us come finals.
From a player's perspective, there's a lot of bad blood, if you like, between the Bulldogs and the Roosters. This game will be a tough fought affair.
Certainly will. The last 2 times we've played them, and last year, we've come back from nowhere really, and I think that's really upset North Adelaide Football Club. I think the weekend will be no different.
Your ruck set up, Arnold has been doing a good job for you, but not taking a lot of marks around the ground. Are you looking at improving in that area?
Certainly. He's been winning the taps in the middle, but around the ground he's been not taking as many marks as we'd like him to. So if he can improve in that aspect of his game, I think that'll help us a great deal.
And I'll certainly need him as we go down to Rob Popplestone in the Central District lineup. Rob, it looks pretty good on paper, but their last month has been disappointing.
It has indeed, DB. You've hit the nail on the head there. Although it's been fairly unchanged for most of the year, their form has been very consistent, despite their past probably 3 or 4 performances, as you touched on. But if you look through that middle, Dew in the centre, he really is a young sensation, isn't he? And Potter on that half-forward line usually gets a tagging role, doesn't he, on some occasions? So it'll be interesting to see if he lines up there. Jared Cotton's a goal kicker that they will come back into that side, and they desperately need. It'll be interesting also to see how that ruck goes. Lockwood's name there in the ruck. I'd be surprised if he starts there. However, I think he's maybe a centre half forward type. Also Conway and Hicks, and also Scotty Lee. I think the most interesting scenario after today's performance is just how Central Districts can fight back after their 2 disappointing performances of the last 2 weeks, because at this time of the year it really is desperate times for all of those players in that side and coach Stevie Wright to start putting the form when it counts, and that's Saturday afternoon.
Yes, no doubt about that. Well, I caught up with both coaches on Thursday night and asked them both about their recent form.
Yeah, recent form's been a little bit up and down. You know, we had a couple of disappointing results here against West Adelaide and Sturt a fortnight ago, a good result against Port Adelaide. Our recent form hasn't been all that flash. You know, we decided as a match committee to really work hard on the track, and that's been going for the last month. So I think our guys are a little bit flat, so hopefully we can turn it around this week. Yeah, a couple of games against Centrals this year. I mean, both games we've been in winning positions and probably 3 or 4 goals up. You know, the start of the year we played Elizabeth in the wet and had the game under control for 3.5 quarters before Jared Cotton popped out of the ground and kicked 3 on us late in the last quarter. Our 2 games against North so far have been very interesting. We've been trailing both times against them, and they've got away to very good starts. Yeah, look, I mean, Central's playing style is pretty hard and aggressive at the footy and pretty even. Like, you know, they don't have too many weak links in their side. Their playing style is probably a little foreign to us. We like to get the ball and kick it long and then get numbers to the contest, where they get the ball and throw it around. I think the keys for Centrals are, you know, in the big man department. Conway's given us real trouble in the 2 games we played against them this year, and very difficult bloke to match up on, whether he's forward or back. Lurs is obviously in pretty reasonable form at centre-half forward. Yeah, Rosenboom's a very good player for them. He's a good mark around the ground and also a very strong man. Also Parker up forward. The biggest assets for us are, I mean, throughout the whole year have really been our on-ball division. I mean, Richard Gerke's had a fantastically consistent year. Tim Noonan is always outstanding at the bottom of the packs. You know, I'm especially looking for a lift from our leaders in the club, Roger Girdham, Scotty Lee. I think we can win today pretty well because the club just needs a win. We need to win going into the final series, and confidence and winning form is pretty important to any club. I'm certain that we will win because I believe we're a lot tougher than North are at the ball, and that's one of our real strengths and has been for many years.
No doubt about that as we go to Roger Girdham and the toss. Roger's just standing around waiting. Umpires today, Danny Cowell, Derek Woodcock and Ron Bettridge, as Jay Viney comes in for North Adelaide, the Rooster skipper. A little late, but nonetheless, better late than never. Jay and Roger, there'll be a bit of feeling between those two. Danny Cowell puts the coin in the air, Ron Bettridge officiates, and Jay Viney has won the toss. And we'll kick to the southern end, to the right of screen, here at Prospect Oval. And as we invite Ken Sheldon and Mark Nally back to the commentary, Wayne Rosenboom, a real key today in the big man department for the Roosters.
He's named in the forward pocket, David. Probably will have a run in ruck and drift a kick behind the play, sitting in the in the zone with the opposition forwards like to lead into, and will take obviously a great control over the aerial supremacy here today. But Conway, he's a direct opponent, you know. He and Arnold, they will have to be leaping rather than bodying this big bloke, and I'm sure their athleticism will test him out as well.
Mark Conway, on the other hand, named today at centre-half back, and you look at Cotton, Mark, at full forward, you just wonder whether the big fellow might be more a handful at full forward than Cotton.
He's played a fair bit of the season this year at centre-half back, as Mark Conway, and it has surprised me. I know that they would like him up forward, but at the moment there's enough players kicking goals up there. But don't be surprised if you don't see him at some stage throughout the game, whether it's in the first half or the second half, just find his way up forward somewhere, if they're not kicking goals, that is.
Yes, I probably agree with that. A couple of other key players around the oval. Bowen Lockwood and Jared Cotton back in the side today for Centrals. And Tim Davis for North Adelaide, who copped that very heavy knock last week on the jaw. Glenn Sanford in screen, about to have a shot for goal. And he's another key for them, Ken. If he can get amongst them and bustle a few out of the contest, he's a key player for them.
Well, he's prepared to do so much unrewarded work at centre-half forward. He does open up the spaces for the likes of Brendan Parker, who is a very, very strong lead and is such an accurate kick for goal.
Jared Cotton, Mark, back today after injury and Port Power duties, and named at full forward, but ideally probably suited to a half-forward flank or a running commission.
No, I tend to disagree with you there, David. He's a strong player. One-on-one, looking at too many players that can hold their ground like Jared Cotton can. He is an exciting young player. That's why he's on the Port Powers list.
Simon Lewis, number 13. We spoke with Stevie Wright during the week. He said his form in the last 2 or 3 weeks has been outstanding after spending a good deal of the year in the reserves.
it's a credit to a man that can come back after playing reserves and then play so well. Like, he is an accomplished player. His Lures has played a great deal of football, and he will of course be priming himself for this coming 6 weeks.
The North Adelaide huddle. 38ers Wintle back in the side after a stint in the reserves last week. Now Brenton Phillips sitting on the bench. Chris McDermott is smiling before the game, fellas. Unusual for him. And Stephen Barrett, the assistant coach, on Chris McDermott's left.
I don't think he'd be smiling at half-time if they're down by 5 or 6 goals. I think it'd be pretty serious, but it's just good to see the SANFL coaches still enjoying their football.
It will really stand them in good stead if the Roosters can win here at home today, with the likes of that fellow there on the bench in Phillips, also Noonan missing, Squire missing, an electric player on cross half forward, and of course the loss of Lehman with a knee injury, I think has been very costly for their premiership chances.
And conditions down on the oval, we've got some heavy cloud. The oval during the reserves was a little damp underfoot, but generally speaking it was quite reasonable. And there's the flags, just showing the breeze, bathing the end to which North Adelaide is kicking as we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary. Rob, at ground level, what are the conditions like?
Well, the wind is a little bit blowy actually, but probably favouring it right of the screen. A little bit soft underfoot, especially in the centre of the pitch. But otherwise, the conditions are not too bad, as long as this rain can hold off, of course. But it looks pretty threatening, let me tell you.
Is the breeze a factor, Rob?
It was actually in the reserves game. Central Districts came from 5 or 6 goals behind to actually get within one straight scoring shot. That's when the wind really blew up in that last quarter. At the moment, as I said, it's a little bit blowy, but if it's favouring any end, it definitely is to right of screen.
Thanks for that, Rob. Lucas Herbert in screen umpires for this afternoon's match. Danny Cow, Derek Woodcock and Ron Bettridge. Your commentators for this afternoon's clash. Stay with us. We're live until 4:30 when we need to leave to go to a special edition of the ABC News. Your commentators, Mark Nayley and Ken Sheldon.
The start of the siren here of the first quarter at Prospect Oval. Contesting the ruck is Mark Conway, who we may have suggested may have started centre half back. He's gone straight into the ruck. The first knock down by big Lucas Herbert's gone straight to Dew. He kicks the ball forward. Player coming out wide, number 25 is Sutherland. He goes out to his left boot. He finds Morton. Morton goes further down, trying to find Gerke. The ball carried his head. It was taken on the outer wing. Chance here for North Adelaide to go forward. It's a long kick. Conway reads the ball well. Got the running players out wide. He goes that way to Swert. Swert just chips the ball out further. That's Saywell. Saywell inboard. Couldn't quite find his target. Lockwood working pretty hard. Coming through is North Adelaide again. Taken from behind with a good tackle by Holm. Takes the North player to the ground, but some strong work done early.
It's good physical presence being shown by both teams here early. And that's really what it's all about. You've got to set your mark.
Well, poor Tim Davis copped that knock last week from Jason Miller from the first clash today. And Holmes put a pretty aggressive tackle. Good handball out wide. This is Gerke in the long sleeve Guernsey this afternoon. Goes forward trying to find Collins. Hasn't quite made that distance. And Parker just sees the ball out over the line.
Damien Hicks just hits the boundary fence. Collins providing the shepherd and the stiff body. You can see that North Adelaide's intentions are to intimidate the Bulldogs early, as Norwood did in the second half against them last week. Over the top of the ball, getting the kick away quickly was Morton, but it's offline. Goal umpire indicates that's a point. So North Adelaide first score on the board, and we're a minute and a half into the first term.
Tim Noonan in screen there. Vital midfield players for the Roosters.
The ball comes in. It's a short kick. He's found Swert. Well, the Scotty lead. Must also be talked about as a Magarey medal prospect. He's been close a number of years, but from a back pocket.
Well, his early season form, Mark, was terrific. It's not as silly as it sounds, but his late season form was not so good.
Free kick's been given here. Looks like it's going back to Conway. Just a slight push out. He's got the running Cook out wide. He won't go that way. He'll decide. Yes, he will. He's in trouble now. Sanford doesn't want to collect him. He bolts and weaves. The umpire is down. Ball's kicked forward. Number 43 coming out of Spatala. He goes out wide. A good mark taken further. This is Cotter. He chips the ball high. I don't know which direction. You've got Sale up there. He couldn't quite take it. Again, some good strong work happening out there. Coming back through to Lee, who's run down from the back pocket. The ball goes up. Davis in front position. Should take the mark. He doesn't. players in there. Good handball out wide. He's found Girdham. Girdham runs into the open goals and brings up the first goal for the afternoon for the Bulldogs. They go to a 5-point margin. He's just letting Davis know that he should have taken that mark. He ducked his head.
It was good play by Conway, sitting back, a kick behind the play as the ruckman was able to take the mark and cut off the North attack. The switch of play then through Swatala, who's impressed me. I think we seen him play his first game when Central beat Port at Elizabeth about 7 or 8 weeks ago. Fine balance with that disposal out to the wing. Then, of course, Girdham linked so well through the corridor to finish.
5 points the margin, 3.5 minutes into the first term. Conway in ruck, tries to thump the ball forward. Had an airy almost. Girdham in the thick of the mud, goes for a kick, has pulled off the ball.
I was just going to say, David, that's one of the thrills in football, I believe, if you can kick the goal and then go back to the centre bounce and get the next kick out. And it'll be interesting to see if Girdham can do that here. It's one of the thrills that I used to enjoy in footy.
Bulldog coach Stevie Wright said he wanted a lift from Girdham and Scotty Lee today. Well, I'm sure he's made them aware of that as Saywell gathers the ball in at half forward, bends it back towards the centre field. The kick was wayward, it didn't come around, and Lucas Herbert marks at centre half back. Feeding off to Sutherland. The North Adelaide defence was running beautifully last week, and they've opened quite well today already. A long ball to half forward. Lockwood and Sanford go at it. Little fella there is Chris Robertson, pirouettes around, spears it in long and low. Out on the lead was Parker, but Hicks, paying him close attention, brings it back to the far side to relieve the pressure to Scotty Lee.
So Lee drives the ball down the outer wing. Good mark taken by Cotter. He's got a player inside, hasn't quite found it. Well cut off. The ball's thrown back. The umpire will indicate it was a throw.
Now that little player Steinburner thinks you've got a phobia against him, Mark. You call him by the wrong name, then you don't call him at all.
I just like to upset the Bulldog supporters. The ball goes up wider. Good marks and quick movement. The gunner's going forward. Cotton out in front. Makes a good mark. He's outside of 50.
Now he's best
kicking into the breeze. He comes inside and finds Holm. So Holm also outside of 50. Will kick from outside of 50, that is. He's been a pretty handy picked up for the Bulldogs this season.
Played 19 games and probably amongst their best in 10 or 12 of those.
It's a good settling in period. You can't ask for any more than that.
So right on the 15-metre line. You see the way the ball held up has gone wide. Morton should clean it up. He does that. Looking for the running support. He has Herbert. Herbert just chips the ball out wide. This is King. A little terrier. He chips it out wider. Looking for the big fella in Sanford. He takes a good mark out in front.
Couldn't afford to have missed, could he? Sanford was the only target and put the ball beautifully in the position. Sanford goes forward. Jeffries misses it over the top of it, working hard. Hicks, and hasn't he been a revelation this year? Flicks it out. The umpire called it a throw, and he's been pinged.
Well, he has been pinged. It's consistent as the Gurkey one earlier, but gee, he didn't quite catch it, but a bit unlucky there, I thought.
Jeffries a long ball. Parker sits underneath this one. Thumped away from him. Belting it away was Damien Arnold. So you can see that Centrals are mindful of the height of the North Adelaide forward zone.
Well, particularly in this first quarter, the Roosters are kicking with what has now turned into a pretty strong breeze, I would think. And they will really have to be wary of that.
Throw in about 30 metres around from the point post in North Adelaide's forward zone. Arnold will do the ruck work in defence. Rosenboom paddles the ball down. Scotty Lee gets the loose crumbs. Look at that 2-on-1. King's there, Jeffries there. Gang tackle. Free kick to the umpire. It was too high.
No doubt about that. Scotty in line with the football, and good play by Scotty Lee, who's been prominent early.
The Squirt chips the ball out. Number 34 for the Bulldogs is Nathan Steinburner.
Oh, give him a clap.
He kicks the ball down, finds Arnold. Arnold gets the ball moving quickly. Going forward again from behind. Good work and good commitment shown by Herbert. Just got an arm across to it. He needs support. Out wide is Hodges. That's the direction it's gone. Very clever as Hodges. Which way will he go now? He bolts and turns. Goes out wide again. This is Davis. Onto his boot quickly. It's a high ball. Gurkey's in there. The bounce may favour the Roosters. Good work by Cook. Sanford gets the ball across, trying to find Morton. He couldn't find him. Ends up with Conway. So Conway chips the ball up. Coming out of Saywell once again. He needs support. He does it by himself. He goes longer over the hole. Will the ball sit? It doesn't. Should go out of bounds. It hasn't as yet. coming through very hard. It's the back line. As we see the ball going out over the line once again.
Yes, Evil was good, wasn't he? Just held his line over the ball, didn't deviate at all, Ken.
Well, you can't afford to, particularly early in a football game when you've got to just, well, lay down the ground rules of what you're about, your commitment.
Herbert thumps it down. Wintle gathers it in, claimed by Stewie Dew. Well, we're excited by Stewie Dew, aren't we? But the tackle was too high, and Wintle will take it at half-back.
Well, Dew has already had a couple of possessions, and good, clean possessions they've been, and Swatala also. He's a very balanced and exciting youngster.
Some good kids, the Bulldogs, as have North Adelaide. Little push there. Sanford not pinged. Went to play on. The umpire calls him off now. Gerke follows up, providing plenty of run out of the midfield. Now to Rosenboom, and the big boomer's got it. 20 metres out, almost directly in front, and he'll kick for goal on his left foot.
It should be money for old rope here for Rosenboom. The left foot will be favoured here, and he should be able to just slot it straight through the middle.
Good judgment, wasn't it, Arnold? Very tall at 197 centimetres, 6 foot, 8 in the old measurements. Rosenboom read it superbly. So 20 metres out on the left boot. He'll need to take the right post. The breeze is going right to left. He does exactly that, puts it right through for his first. And North Adelaide go to 7 points. They're a point ahead of the Bulldogs.
Good play with the Roosters. Centre-half forward in their forward pocket, or key focal point in the full forward line, both featuring with strong overhead marks. Quick entry into their forward line, using the height advantage of and the weight advantage of Rosenboom. That's what you really need to be when you're kicking with a strong breeze. You need to be long and direct. And when the opposition do finally clog it all up, then you've got to be purposeful enough just to chip the ball and then use it kicking long goals.
1 point margin to the Roosters. The ball comes down. Morton got his head out the way from the oncoming traffic. The ball's gone forward once again. Lewis couldn't take it. Davis cleans it up. Some good work in tight. And we see players just fall on top of each other. The ball's underneath them. The umpire will come in just to ball it up.
You'd have to say it's been a pretty good start by the Bulldogs too. This stage of the quarter, for scores to be pretty well even.
Favoured by around about a 2, maybe 3 goal breeze at the moment. Going right of screen as the ball comes out. This is Warner. It's it long. A good sport from behind. First there will be Gerke. Just pushes the ball forward. Opportunity here for Collins. He steadies himself. Has he got the carry? I think he has over the top of his defence. He brings up his first goal of the afternoon. Another quick one to the Roosters.
Well, he needed to kick it, Ken, didn't he? Because Collins had dropped back and had the handball over the top. It was easy pickings.
But isn't this just great play? Richard Gerke, been so prominent in the midfield for the Roosters. He was the front and square of that pack. He read it so well, and then was able to handball it in favour of Collins, who finished off well. But that's just a classic roving goal set up by Gerke.
Light rain falling at Prospect Oval as the Roosters advance to a 7-point lead. 11 minutes into the first term, and it's Herbert going up before acceptances. Bringing out the ball was Saywell. Off to Steinburner. On the left boot, he goes to half forward. Good body work. There was Dew just nudging out his direct opponent in Warner. Girdham applies the tackle. That'll hold the ball in the area. And the tempo just starting to lift for the Bulldogs.
Terrific play by Girdham. You need your defensive ethic in your forward line. You really need to be able to close the opposition up, prevent them from attacking from half-back. That's a great tackle.
North Adelaide, plenty of players around the ball. Herbert tries to thump it down. Dead heat, that one with Lures. Warner flicks it out to Davis, who was so heavily hit last week. Viney, Hodges, and as Davis has been felled behind play, and the umpire's picked out a free kick, but he's allowed the advantage to flow as Viney streaks through the centre. Feeds it off to Gerke, caught on the left foot. He decides to swing it back on the right. A little unbalanced. The kick was awkward, but there's a push in the forward zone, and the free kick's going to Jeffries.
No doubt about that one. And wasn't a tremendous play by the Roosters. They just look a little better around the packs, the boundary throw-ins, the ground bounces across half forward. They really have cleaned it up and taken it away well from those contests. And that was just a tremendous passage of play, linking as a switch through the midfield.
Mark Jeffries, 104 career goals. He won't make that 105. He sprayed it off to the left, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Well, he's just misread the wind there. Like, really, that goal was not as difficult as it may seem from out on that boundary. The wind would bring it straight into the goals.
Hicks brings the ball back in. Morton cleans up. As you can see, the rain in screen coming down here at Prospect Oval. We played 30 minutes of this first quarter. And the Roosters by 7 points.
And a tremendous smother, further evidence of the 1%ers, so necessary to win finals games.
Saywell was good, wasn't he?
But Conway, Rosenboom taps the ball over the top. Coming out hard to Steinburner. He goes long down the line. There's 3 North Adelaide players out here. Coming in board again. He goes high. Looking for Rosenboom at the back of the pack. He's got his arms up there. Couldn't take it. Coming through was Conway. He couldn't take it out either. The umpire will come in. Has a free kick been found? I think it has. We'll go the Bulldogs' way. The big fella in Conway. Back to Lee, who comes across to Arnold, that was. Across to Lee. On to Swirt. Saywell back to Swirt. It's up to Gurnham. Gurnham in the front. Couldn't quite take it. Cleaning up was King. Goes back to Hodges. Hodges on his left boot. Will only go as far as Arnold once again.
Arnold flips it out to Scotty Lee. Over the top. Now to Hicks. Short ball. Lockwood. Just controlling centre half back at this stage. Providing plenty of run. Only a 19-year-old. Exciting young talent, Ken, isn't he?
I think it's a good move by the Bulldogs match committee to try that type of thing. It gives him more mobility and it allows the ruckman to dictate terms as well.
Well, particularly when Lewis is playing so well at centre forward. That kick was a little wayward. Lucas Herbert. Remember, rain is falling here at Prospect Oval, light rain. Cook brings it back inboard. Steinburner flips it further afield. Lewis caught on the left foot. He's not comfortable in that position. But look at the kick. It was quite magnificent. Gave Cotton every chance. Swatala, the crumb, goes to goals. Could it bounce? It does. Oh. It's through. Great crumbing, Swatala. Great commitment of the ball, Cotton.
Magnificent commitment. Not so magnificent a commitment by the Roosters, though, on a couple of occasions there when the ball... A difficult ball to read, though, kicking into that breeze. But, gee, great play by Swatala. He is a brilliant player at getting his balance very, very quick and executing that football more directly, deliberately. That's a good goal.
Another match is being played around town today. Norwood by 15 points over Port Adelaide and scores a level with Sturton West at Adelaide Oval. Eagles by a point at South. That's playing at the Eagles' home ground, Woodville Oval.
Once again, a chance through. Potter kicks the ball out wide towards the members' wing. First there will be Hodges. Kicks the ball out further. Will he keep it in? He gets hit very hard there by Holm. He's gone into the concrete pavement. That would have hurt. The young fella gets to his feet as quickly as possible and shows no pain. Daniel Holm certainly collected him. Good hip and shoulder. Well, Daniel Holm will go around Morton onto his left boot. Just chips the ball forward. He finds Swirt. We'll see Hodges there on screen. Still not quite with it. At least he's out there. Good mark taken from behind by Davis. So Timothy Davis kicks it up long, looking for Sanford in the front position. A good mark in front, couldn't quite take it. Through to Saywell. Quickly again. That's Cotter this time. Over the top, and a good mark over the back. Umpire will pay the man in front. Number 25 is Scotty Sutherland. Yes, that's what we're all taught as a very young boy. The rule, you pay the man in front, and that's a
25-metre penalty. James Tim Cook ran across Sutherland, just flipped the ball out of his hand, and the umpire was right on the spot. Gave him a 50-metre penalty.
Can't afford that when you're kicking against a strong breeze. This is a big advantage now for the Roosters.
Sutherland, long ball in. Rosenboom front position, knocked away from him. Being able to keep it in was Chris Robertson, and we'll have a throw in about 15 metres around as the umbrellas come out at Prospect Oval. But jovial spirits. Final home and away game of the year. Final start next week. North Adelaide will be playing, and we already know they'll be playing Sturt in the elimination final. And Central, it would appear, will be playing the Magpies in qualifying final. Hodges just feeling the effects, looks to be heading towards the boundary line. We might just ask Rob Popplestone to check what's going on down there and keep us informed. And Holm cleans him up. Straight into the concrete decking as we go down to Rob Popplestone.
As you caught it there, of course, Hodges got thrown into the decking, did he what? How he got up from that, it's got me baffled, but nevertheless they will make that change, and Ben Armstrong will come on for North Adelaide.
Rob, we might just get you to check whether it's a leg injury.
He's actually got a very sore left knee. I'm not sure if you can see that on screen now. He's actually clutching his left knee and also his right wrist, blood coming from that right wrist. And that's the reason why he had to leave the field. But he was hobbling around behind play. Didn't want to come off the ground, but was forced to, basically, in the end.
Thanks, Rob. As rain continues to fall at Prospect Oval, it's Lee to Saywell just inside the boundary line. Needs support, gets it in turn. The runner was Hicks, but the handball was a little long. Scotty Lee was there. Gurdon flicks it out. Saywell again. Switches it wide, and Swatala, who's finding plenty of the ball early. 4 kicks for him already now. Conway, Gurdon, further afield. The runner now is Chambers. A long one to centre half forward. Lures created a contest, couldn't mark it, but gave a second effort that was worthwhile. And
Against Holm.
well, Holm came in late. Thanks,
Pretty
Ken.
crude. Yes, it was totally unnecessary. You really got to, like, he got to the front and square of that pack, did Holm, but then he took the body rather than the ball.
So Lucas Herbert punches the ball forward. Sanford by himself goes uncontested, gives the ball across to Morton. He's a clever player. He'll find a target. He's put it out in front. Great kick by Danny Morton. He's found Jeffries. That's intelligent football.
One of the criticisms of Danny Morton has been his foot disposal at times, but gee, that was nothing but brilliant.
Mark Jeffries, 40 metres out, directly in front, pushes it through the middle of the goal. The umpire did not even move. That's his first for the afternoon.
It'll be interesting to see if Holm comes off the ground. Totally undisciplined. The reason for that goal to North Adelaide is the lack of discipline shown by Holm at centre-half forward for his team. Big, strong mark by Sanford. And look at this kick across the body, left foot, lace out. Thank you very much.
Hit you right on the spot, Ken. Is Morton ready for another crack at the AFL? Will anyone pick him up?
Gee, he's been as good as any in this competition. You'd nearly have to rate him a chance to be given another crack at it.
When you look at Glenn Kilpatrick going from West Adelaide to Geelong, he's played exceptionally well there. And there's Hodges being attended to by the medical staff.
Different body frame, though. Morton is very small and light.
Patrick more suited to the wet grounds of Geelong.
Oh, Kilpatrick, you know, he was former best and fairest at Essendon under-19s, played games with Essendon, North Melbourne, I should say under-19s. You know, he's a proven player, I think, winning the Magarey medal. Morton's got to do that, of course, yet.
There's a chance on Tuesday, September the 16th. Join us at 8:30 for that. As Viney goes off the ground, Wintle will need to work his way through the mud. Strongly through with Steinberner, working very hard at the ball. Potter. Well, he went to handball, but decided to go around the body with a kick. Potter holds it nicely. Steinberner ducked the chutney, but second effort was good to try and flip it out. Look at the work by the North Adelaide runners to get to the contest and just lock it in.
Well, he did take a bashing. Young Shane Hodges.
He's in good form too. I was really impressed with his composure that he showed at centre-half back there when they tackled him, but he was still able to execute the handball efficiently.
Ball comes through the middle, it's up high again, a contest here from behind. Vic Parker gets a little nudge out. First down over the top, it's just gone forward. A great kick to Morton. The player who delivered it was Robinson, and Morton's brought up his first goal for the afternoon.
That's tremendous play by number 46.
And Chris
Robinson to crumb that ball, and then at the last minute understand the position he was in and then just use the ball so effectively to Morton. He could have simply had a go and blazed away and nobody really would have thought any of the different, but he really did show some class there, did Chris Robertson. That's an important goal also, Mark, in the context of the game, like late in the first quarter.
So 12 plays, 25 here. We played 22 minutes marked this first quarter. You see North Adelaide 4-1, Leeds Central's 2 goals. There's umpire Rod Bettridge. Comes in to bounce the ball. Ball's knocked forward. Jay Viney around his body, just goes for the safety of the boundary line.
It's good.
It's one of the least expensive grandstand seats in history.
That's good to see.
Now the match is being played around town today. Norwood by 4 points over Port Adelaide at the Parade. Sturt by 4 points over West Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. And South get ahead of the Eagles at Woodville Oval. Back live, Conway applies the tackle on Sanford. Umpire says that's a dead heat. and he'll bounce. The rain has stopped here at Prospect Oval, and the crowd enjoying a fierce contest. Both sides look for winning form coming into the finals. That one's across the line, and we'll have a throw-in. It's a difficult one, Ken, as we see Hodges with blood coming from knee and wrist. Very difficult to stop the blood rule being enforced continuously.
Yes, the medical team earn their money there. They've got to stop the bleeding. It's as simple as that.
Oh, look at this. Running Armstrong to the open goal. He gets it. It was great teamwork. 3 quick handballs, and Armstrong finishes it beautifully on the left boot.
A terrific goal. And I was going to mention earlier when Viney brought the ball deliberately here to the grandstand boundary line. Like North Adelaide are superior at this stage around the packs, clearing the ball more effectively from the throw-ins and ball-ups around the ground. So it's good tactics by the Roosters. And there you can see from that boundary throw-in they were able to manufacture it through to the running Armstrong, who finished with an excellent left foot goal.
So the Roosters sharing the goals around. They've had 5 goals, 5 single goal kickers. They lead 31-12. The ball's knocked down to Gerke. Gerke goes back again to Armstrong. He goes out wide to the loose player in Viney. Viney quickly to his feet. He's got a running Jeffries. It goes that way, and Jeffries takes a mark. Plays for the 25 metre. The umpire will have nothing of that. He goes onto his right boot. He chips the ball out in front of Sanford. Gets one hand to it. Couldn't quite get across and kick control. The North player and Scotty Sutherland taken high by Dew and will receive the free kick.
No doubt about this one. Put him high with the left arm around above the shoulders.
Great courage, Ken, from Sutherland, wasn't it? You come in low, and the only place they can take you is high.
Yeah, you know that one's coming, but of course it's all worth it when you're sitting in this position lining up to kick for goal. Pick your name in the scorebook, son, and next week you'll be in the side.
So Scotty Sutherland lined up for his 6th possession of this first quarter, pushes the ball in the right direction. The wind will bring it back. It does that. That's his first goal for the afternoon, so we have 6 individual goal kickers for the Roosters at the 25-minute mark of this first quarter.
Just in the last 5 minutes or so, the Roosters really have taken dominance in the midfield area. Morton's come right into it, Gerke and Viney, and Sutherland there running off half-back has been something also for them. And as we said, 6 individual goal kickers really is a good sign for the Roosters coach, Chris McDermott.
"25 points the margin as we go back to the middle. And there's a tackle too high, said the umpire. Holm, who is a marked man, it would appear, after a couple of very fierce attacks on the player. I think the North Adelaide players are quite aware of his presence. And they're keen to settle up. Oh, Evil did very well. Great courage, gets it through. Hollett feeds it off now. Armstrong finishes with it after Morton and goes long. But dropping back underneath this one, Lockwood is very balanced and composed. This big fellow. Only 1 kick today. Make that 2. Towards half-forward, a penetrating kick. Lewis dumps it on, allows the Bulldog runners to come onto it. Over the top of that one, Davis, claimed by Potter, goes to ground. Loose ball falls, and Chambers gives it off to Jared Cotton into the open goal. Cotton gets his first. The Bulldogs get the quick reply.
That's a very, very important goal for the Bulldogs. But what great play by Lewis at centre-half forward. Outnumbered by 2-1. The big fellow's there sitting back in the hole for North Adelaide, but he was able to just punch the ball on to the running players. And Potter landed a magnificent tackle. You could see it there. The ball spilling free, picked up cleanly, and did, well, just distributed so well in the end by Cotton. But that was a very, very good goal.
Jared Cotton in the screens, his first goal for the afternoon. It's a 19-point margin now for the Roosters. It's Herbert again up against Conway. Ball comes forward. Schwert tries to use his body, take a one-handed mark, just goes for the boundary line. But both these teams today, Ken, they do match up pretty well. There's not too many players out there that you could say that could take this game apart. At the moment, they do match up very, very well.
So I'd agree with that.
Big fella in Sanford. It's come down again. Dumped is Morton by Holm, who's doing some pretty strong work there. Gerke. The free kick has been found behind play.
Yeah, deliberate push on Armstrong off the ball.
Sutherland with the raking left foot kick goes towards Rosenboom. 2 hands, almost completed the mark. Arnold couldn't get back for a second effort. Over the top of it, pack of players. Jeffries was there, 31. And Scotty Lee, the man at the bottom of the pack. Well, it's only about 15 metres out from the North Adelaide goals. A goal here to the Roosters would be very handy. Arnold dumps it wide. Oh, he hit it straight down the throat of Morton, who snaps and has kicked a point. Oh, it's a goal. Well, he ran back to the centre. He liked it, Morton, and there was no crowd reaction at all. I thought it must have been a point, but the goal umpire steadied up and gave 2 fingers. That's his second.
It's just a fantastic goal, wasn't it? You can see there the wind did get it, but probably curled around the post. The goal umpire, of course, in the best position to read that one. Deemed it as a 6-pointer. Morton's second goal, a very important one for the Roosters, their 7th for the game.
So back out to a 25-point margin. First quarter, nearing the end. The ball's up again with Herbert, up against Conway. Comes to the ground. Good work by Cotton, trying to find Cook. A little bit muddy here at Prospect Oval. See Danny Morton, the recipient of that last goal. Wipes a bit of that clay off him as he gets it again, quickly onto his boots. Very good at that, it's Danny Morton. From behind was Lockwood, couldn't take it, possibly should have gone for the spoil. Cook comes back to Lockwood. Lockwood straightens up. Tries to find Chambers out here. First player to get there will be Sutherland. He suckers the ball off in mid-air to the boundary line, and he's kicked it out in the fall. I think he has. For Steve Sutherland out in the fall. The ball will be brought back in by Steinberner. So the rain's still falling here, David.
And don't you start getting his name right now. So Nathan Steinberner towards centre half forward. Armstrong lost his footing. Cotton was there. Gathering it in now was Swatala. Towards full forward. Dew underneath it, couldn't gather it out. Now look at the North Adelaide runners. This is where the Roosters have worked it out so well. They've been able to push it wide and get it running. And Sanford takes a great diving mark at half-back. Feeds it back inboard. And look at that, it's a good grab. You go to Armstrong. Back, Sanford, the double play. Oh, the handball was astray. Gerke needs to bend it back around the corner, does so successfully. Underneath this one, coming at it was Jeffries and Scotty Lee. Schwert evades the tackle, feeds off to the big fellow in Arnold, who centres it up, but it could be dangerous because underneath this one, oh, King's taken the grab. No, says the umpire, play on. Collins tries to get rid of the ball, but the siren sounds. It's a 25-point margin in favour of the Roosters at quarter time, Ken, and you suggest the Bulldogs really need to get cracking. And would you fade that as a mark, Ken?
No, I think it was the correct decision in the end. But I think the Bulldogs really do need to get cracking. I thought they had held them well up until about the 20-minute mark, but the Roosters just exploded in 10 minutes of great football.
Well, they seemed to win it right through the midfield particularly, and their half-back line was running and strong.
Well, when you see a player like Morton kick his second goal for the quarter, the Roosters' 7th, then he gets the next centre bounce clearance, and then 2 minutes later, he gets the ball at full-back. There's a bit happening there, so...
You see the score here at quarter time. North Adelaide, their 7 goals won, their 43 points. Centrals, just the 3 straight goals, 18 points. And you're seeing this game live at home on ABC Sport.
.25 points in favour of the Roosters at quarter time here at Prospect Oval, and one fellow who spent a fair bit of the time on the interchange bench during that quarter was Shane Hodges. We profiled the number 21 Rooster.
I think I've played about 35 SANFL games. Career aspirations, probably just get a good steady job, but keep involved in footy at the same time. Personally, obviously I'd like to play AFL footy again, so that's a big ambition for me. When I'm not playing footy, to relax, I wouldn't mind playing a game of tennis here and there, probably spending time with my girlfriend as well. My toughest opponent, well, I couldn't actually single out one. I think every game they're all pretty tough. The importance of SANFL, I think it's a good breeding ground for Port and also the Crows, and obviously other AFL clubs as well. Biggest influence in my footy career would definitely be my parents. They've been very supportive to me over all my time in football, taking me to training, games from juniors up until now. The biggest memory I have in football is playing my first AFL game, which was against Fitzroy at the Gabba. Most inspirational coach obviously has to be Chris McDermott. Came here this year on and off the field, he's been fantastic. He's just a real inspiration to us all. First game ever, it was for East Martin Primary School. I can't remember the result, but I think we won. Pre-match routine, I don't really have one, no. My tip for the McGarry medal, well, I've got an inside source that says that Jarman and Harvey are 1 and 2, but I'm going for Danny Morton from North Adelaide. He's had a great year.
Jarman and Harvey, and Morton, he's long shot. I think he's better than a long shot. And there is Shane Hodges, still in the bunker with ice to his left knee. So I'm not sure that we'll see much of him later in the match. Highlights from the first term: it was a great first quarter, hard fought, 10 goals kicked in total, 7 to the Roosters, 3 to the Bulldogs, and some tough hits from Danny Holm in this highlight package.
You see here Simon Lewis, some quick hands out to Gurdon. This was the first goal of the afternoon. It came through Roger Gurdon, Ken, and it really was. I mean, that was a good opening by the Bulldogs.
Good start. You can see Rosenboom, the big fellow, read the ball so well, and he is so strong overhead, and just an excellent left foot goal. The use of the breeze, going left to right. Probably worth, I would think, 3 or 4 goals in that first quarter, and that's probably reflective on the scoreboard, although the Roosters do look a little better around the packs. They've blocked it well up at centre-half forward, at centre-half back, I should say, and then switched the ball well. You can see a terrific hard tackle there by Holm, paid as a perfect tackle.
This is the hit of the afternoon so far. As Danny Holm committed both players, so was Hodges. He went down, hitting the concrete plinth in front of the coach's box.
And his left knee cannon into the concrete gutter, fellas, as did his wrist, and he's had ice on the wrist and blood coming from the knee and the wrist. So this is the final goal, and great teamwork. Armstrong finished it off beautifully, put it right through the middle, and left North Adelaide with a 25-point margin at quarter time. As we go down to Rob Popplestone, Chris McDermott, I think, would be pretty pleased with his team's first term.
You're right, DB. Very happy with his team's first quarter performance. Ran in numbers. He was very happy about that. Very complimentary to all the midfield players, especially players like Gerke and also Morton, who really gave them a lot of drive from the half-back line and also the centre of the ground. He was a little bit concerned, however, that 2 or 3 maybe costly mistakes cost them on the scoreboard also, and said that a side like Central Districts will expose you every time when you do make basic errors, a la not punching from behind and not covering your teammate who's running with the ball. The other side, of course, it was Coach Stevie Wright, very concerned about the amount of latitude that Central Districts were giving North Adelaide opponents, and said that around those packs, around those centre bounce-ups and boundary throw-ins, that you can't afford to give this side, who are so skillful in close, even 6 inches room, you need to be even hanging onto their Guernseys. So maybe take careful note of that during the course of this quarter.
Thanks for that, Rob. As we go to other matches around town this afternoon, 3 other matches being played at quarter time at Norwood Oval. Norwood 2-5-17, lead Port 2-3-15, a 2-point ball game at Norwood Oval. At Adelaide Oval, a progressive score late in the first term. Stir to 1-6, West to 2-1. It's 1 point in favour of the Bloods at Adelaide Oval. And at Woodville Oval, the Eagles 2-2-14, trail South 3-2-20, the margin 6 points at quarter time. As we come back to Prospect Oval, 7-1-43 the Roosters, 3 straight goals the Bulldogs. Goal kickers: Morton 2, Jeffries, Armstrong, Sutherland and Rosenboom 1, Cotton, Switala and Gurdon are the goal kickers. And there, statistically, fellas, tells the story. It's pretty close. But we go to the second quarter from Prospect Oval. Your commentators Mark Nayley and Ken Sheldon.
So umpire Rod Bentridge gets the ball. This time he decides to throw it up to start the second quarter. The ball's kicked forward quickly. Good mark. Good courage shown there by Robinson. He's got the lead out front from Parker, who's slightly nudged forward again. In at ground level with Stewie Dew. Goes back to Stephen Swert. Dew will end up with it. He goes wider with a handball. Coming out is Cotter. And he's knocked the ball over to Steinberner. He does that. He comes back onto his left boot. So Steinberner up high. Found Cook in the middle of the ground. They need to get the ball moving quickly. Good handball back again to Steinberner. Goes out wider still. The North Adelaide player in Sutherland should have taken the ball. Couldn't quite get there. Davis goes for the safety of the boundary. That's the way he's knocked it forward. And the ball eventually ends up over the line. We see a couple of North Adelaide supporters, and then a Bulldog supporter comes across.
I think our little mate Justin's got the best seat, the little fellow that sold us the sausages in bread before the game.
I think he sold him that too. Hot pie at the footy. Well, they're not camera shy at Elizabeth Way, are they? Dixie tells us 1,000 stories. Rick McGowan sits in the grandstand. Harada sits in the grandstand. They're missing their two key fellows, that's for sure, the Bulldogs at this stage of the game. They trail by 25 points, and North have kicked 7 goals.
Really is a McGowan type of day too, isn't it? Like 40, 50 possessions he would be manufacturing and has many, many times in this type of outing.
Lures, gathers it, feeds it off to Steinburner. The kick was beautifully smothered deep in defence by Ebel, who did very well. The runner was Wintle, feeds it back to Davis, who just finds space with the kick. Now Ebel will set out after it again, and he gets there, but just as the ball goes across the line. 32 was Cotter for the Bulldogs. He's a tough competitor, Cotter. But we're grandstand side, Prospect Oval. As the ball comes in, Lockwood opposed in ruck to Sanford. It was Sanford who won the ball and dumps it down. Underneath this one, Morton working hard. Cook claims him, but the umpire says, fellas, I'll have some of this, and picks out a free kick. And it's going to Cook.
Might just get Rob Popplestone down the boundary shortly, just to check on the condition of that wing, because I believe it has picked up and is favouring the Bulldogs end of the ground. Ball comes through the middle. That was Collins trying to find Gerke. Down there, Rob, what are they like, those conditions?
You're right on the money there, Nails. It has picked up dramatically, actually, just as the second quarter started. It's probably picked up another 20 or 30%. And Central's, one of their instructions that I didn't cover at quarter time was to kick the ball long and obviously use that wind as they do right now.
I think Mark Narley picked it up, Rob, when you were putting your long johns on on the boundary line. And Ebel makes a forced error.
He does. It's out in the full, and really Cotton should be able to drill this. He'll kick from 40 to 45 on the angle, favoured by his natural left foot. Just kick to the front of the goals, and the wind should carry it through with a natural swing from left to right. Couldn't describe that any better, David. I wonder if he can visualise it here as he's approaching the goals.
Needs a fade, like a golf shot, and that's exactly what he's done. Beautiful done, Kent. Well, you're not a bad judge.
Well, that really is that's a goal of a kid with class to be able to kick that.
Almost Dacos-esque.
Yeah, but I like Jared Cotton. I think we all like his football talent, and I think he has a real future in the game. An important one too for the Bulldogs. The first one of the second quarter closes that gap. They're kicking with a strong breeze, and Coach Stevie Wright will be looking for a real effort from them in this quarter.
19-point margin. The second quarter. First blood to the Bulldogs. The running player out wide is Viney. It'll go that way. They need to keep possession. So Viney dumps the ball high. Looking for Sanford at centre-half forward. He used his body well. Couldn't quite get his arms across there. Coming through with Saywell. Good hands. Nearly found Steinburner. Beautifully taken by King. Who will take this? No play. Comes to ground. Hicks comes through strong. With him is Gurdon. Ball's gone to ground. Cook's in there also. And again, the umpire will come in and throw the ball up.
Now, this is where the Roosters have been better, I believe, than the Bulldogs. At these type of bounce downs, they have cleared it more effectively. Important one here for the Bulldogs.
Conway and ruck opposed to Rosenboom. Rosenboom wins at Armstrong, gets it back. Rosenboom handballs off to Gerke, who shoots for goal. It's coming around. That's an important kick. Gerke gets it, and that's his first.
Those neutral balls, really, the Roosters are just cleaning them up, and that's a good goal. Finished by Gerke, who has been prominent in the midfield, been in the centre all day, and playing very, very well.
Valuable goal to the Roosters. The 5.5-minute mark of this first quarter. It's his first goal for the afternoon, Richard Gerke. That takes the scores out to a 25-point margin. 8-1. Plays 4 goals. Again, the rain falling, conditions not improving. This really is the winter that we didn't have, which we are now having coming into the finals.
This is
Steinberner.
the winter we had to have. Thank you, Paul.
That could have been the one. We see Saywell comes through the back of the pack. He puts the ball over the top. He's full forward, Jared Cotton. That's his first for the afternoon. And really is goal for goal here at Prospect Oval.
Saywell, James Saywell. What a turn of pace he has, and has played very, very well so far in this game. Finished there brilliantly. Steinberner, the long kick. You can see Saywell here. Just turns around, understands where he's at, balances himself and just puts it through. Kicking with a strong breeze here. Difficult conditions with the rain and the wind, but it is a strong breeze favouring the Bulldogs.
19 points the margin in favour of the Roosters. And the blood rule being implemented, the goal umpire is sending Rosenboom to the interchange bench.
So good work there by the umpires. The facts are that if there's any leakage there, you've got to be off.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
The interchange being made for that blood rule. Paris Foden will come on for the North Adelaide side. He's a fairly agile, athletic, loping type of player who's not scared to mark from in front of the pack, whether in defence or attack. And Rosenboom with blood on that right leg has obviously been taken from the field.
It'll be interesting to see when Rosenboom does come back onto the ground, whether in fact he resumes back up at full forward or sits a kick behind the game in these strong conditions, strong windy conditions.
Back in the middle, it's a 19-point ball game in favour of the Roosters. Loose ball falls, trying to get it out of the middle there was Cookie. Gets it on the second attempt. Chambers off the ground, goes forward. Look at the variety of players. Saywell, Gerke. Gerke was held when not in possession, said the umpire. Or was it one before that? It was. So the kick's coming back. Hodges. No, it's not Hodges. We'll pick up who that was. We'll get it for you later. Sutherland around the corner on the left boot and across the line and out of play.
I think it was Wintle David.
Thanks for that, Mark.
And again we could see deliberate play by Sutherland using the boundary line. The Roosters really have an air of confidence about them from these situations. The throw-ins, the ball-ups, they think that they are superior to the Bulldogs in these situations.
Cotter streaks away, just bustled off the ball. Beautifully done Collins on that occasion. He's pulled off the ball as well. Great tackle. Holm, hasn't he been tough at the ball? And
I'd correct that comment. I think he's been tough at the man. But I would have liked to have seen him take the ball on a couple of occasions rather than the man. He's home.
Comment Ken Sheldon. That's a fair call, I think. Lockwood tried to come three deep. Rosenboom just thumps it down the throat of Gerke, who streaks away with it. Grubbers went along the boundary line. Not much in the way of options. And the Rooster forward zone just reset.
That's right, and again, they structure themselves up here. It's a good deliberate kick there by Gerke. Not kicking to a 50-50, just using the... Well, again, it's a neutral situation here, but the Roosters do favour themselves here. They are pretty confident in these situations.
Varney couldn't quite take the football away. Ends up with Schwert. Schwert goes further down the field. Wasn't good disposal. Herbert's missed a mark that he should have taken. And this allows Centrals to take the play with the ball. The conditions a little bit greasy here, Ken.
Bit awkward for the big men to take the marks, but haven't been happy with Herbert's approach when he's marking all day. He's just been a little out of sorts, and we'll need to work on that fairly strongly coming into next week.
So the ball's bounced up this time. Herbert gets the ball down to King. King kicks the ball forward. Swert's in there. Sanford comes through strong. Some good use of the body. Ball's kicked up. Saywell should take a chest mark. He sees a player running wide in Cotter. Ball goes that way. Coming out is Cotter and Potter. And the umpire plays the advantage. Gurdams gets the hand on the player as he kicks it. Again, we'll see a pack form that does Morton's at the bottom, along with Holm. In there is Gerke, some clever hands across the Viney. Goes further afield to Collins. Collins has time here to find his opponent. He's got Jeffries in the goal square. He puts it high. Going back is Paris Fountain. And Fountain takes a very good mark. 20 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
It's a mark full of courage. Eyes only for the football. Running back blindly, set himself. It's a great mark.
So Paris Fountain. 42 games for the Roosters. Lines up. It's his first kick for the afternoon. He hasn't let his side down. And the Roosters extend their lead. They move on to 55 points. They lead Central's still 30. So 25-point margin here at Prospect Oval.
And on the overlap, the Roosters were able to get that ball. And they just ran it very, very strongly into their full forward line through Collins.
Oh.
What a flick up there from
Little
Gerke.
throw.
Well, the umpire was, he was in the wrong spot there to see that, so it was allowed to be called play on. A good kick, penetrating kick. And a terrific mark, finished with a fine goal.
So the margin back out to 25 points as Conway thumps it down. Saywell out of the middle, goes long. Lewis caught underneath the ball, was gang busted, and Sutherland goes to ground under pressure from Lewis. So it just needs to fire up a little bit, Ken. You've got to suggest that the Bulldogs, it's cruel to say this, seem to be playing without passion.
Well, they're really lacking a little bit of energy in that midfield, like players such as Dew and Cook just not doing anywhere near enough.
Herbert thumps it down. Going to ground with the ball was Dew. So he started in the middle, gone to the forward line.
I think the correct move too, like he is a renowned goal kicker, and in these conditions you just can't replace genuine skill, and he has oodles of that.
Herbert thumps it down. Loose ball, Morton gathers it in.
So the point I'm making, David, is when the opportunities do come in these conditions, you've got to be able to capitalise, and Dew is that type of player. Give him 3 opportunities, you'll kick 3 goals.
Yes, his skills are terrific, aren't they? No doubt about that. He's only played 17, 18 games. He's kicked 22 goals already in a young career. Not a lot of young players have got the confidence to average better than a goal a game in their rookie season.
That's a correct statement, and this fellow certainly has, and I think Stevie Wright would be pretty pleased if that goal was to come about now.
Yes, they certainly need a couple. The ball goes down again. Oh, Saywell high up above the pack. Coming through was Dew, the player we were talking about. He was dragged off the ball. Evil holds the ball in the air. It was the sensible thing to do. He was looking for a handball option, and when there was none, he just went to ground and dived into the middle of the pack. Good option.
Good option. You can see here the hit out in the ruck. Good leap by Saywell. Dew, good clean grab. And it was only the numbers that didn't allow him to get free.
The umpire bounces the ball. It'll come down. Home. Good interception by Ben Armstrong. Just forces the ball out over the line again. So still a 25-point margin here. The 13.5-minute mark of this first quarter. We see the
bit of experience.
North Adelaide bench. Bit of experience there.
Brenton Phillips, Chris McDermott, Steve Barrett, Gavin Walsh, the runner.
A few nice heads.
Yeah, I was going to say. Tough bunch.
Yeah, but be careful what we say.
No, I think, to be fair, I don't think they'd mind us saying it. That is a tough, hard group of footballers. Brenton Phillips had a stint with the Brisbane Bears, has won a Magarey medal, but he's always been tough at the football in much the same way as perhaps the Scotty Lee. That he just loves a contest. McDermott never shirked a contest in his life. Morton flicks it out, Viney back live. Wintle, player had trouble with earlier. Now Parker, well, we've hardly seen him today. Very quiet first quarter and a half from Parker. Decides to get into the game, but the kick was wasteful. Steinburner picks it up, drives it back towards centre half forward. Girdham gave a contest. Dew over the top of it, flicks out the Potter. Now Cook, he's a good finisher, this kid, and he just pushes it wide this time for a point.
Just not working for Cook today. Just out of his, I think, peripheral vision there, out of the left eye, might have seen the approaching North Adelaide player and just took his eye off the task at the vital time, did Tim Cook. Missed what should have been a soda goal. A very important one in the context of the game.
The ball comes in again, finds Hollett. Hollett pushes the ball up. It's taken by Herbert. A good mark taken by Herbert. Wasn't a very good kick. He finds Sutherland back to Morton, who's been very busy. Is working hard. To Evil. On to Gerke. Now Gerke has time to direct the kick forward. Somehow he's found Collins on the lead. Out in front. A good mark taken by Jeffries.
Penalty.
And the umpire is reporting for knees in the back. Deliberate knees in the back. So on the eve of the finals, Scotty Lee has been reported.
You be the judge, and would you report him, Ken? comes in,
round the
goes
ears.
to ground. No, I think the umpire's probably misinterpreted that one.
His last attack on Fountain was worse than that when he came through with the late elbow.
But you definitely can't stop when the ground is this wet.
That is
That's asking too much of a player. So I don't think there'll be much in that, and Scotty Lee will still be a chance for the McGarry medal. Or was it for the punch? You think? Let's have a look at it again, perhaps, see whether we've misread it and the umpire's right. But either way, it's a goal. We might pick it up on the replay. We thought it was for the knees. Mark Naley thinks it's for a punch. So we'll have another look at it with perhaps a fresh set of eyes.
It's an excellent kick. Terrific mark.
Now, okay, well, it depends what he's reported for. Because clearly he collected him, but was he going for the ball? I don't know that happens 100 times a game. Was it the knees? Well,
neither. Shouldn't.
No, you think... In other matches around town today, Nord by 10 points over Port Adelaide at the Parade, West by 2 points over Sturt at Adelaide Oval, and South by 13 points over the Eagles at Woodville Oval.
The advantage is paid. It's come back. I think the umpire has found, he's bringing it back, not playing the advantage. We'll come back to Roger Girdham. So Girdham goes forward. The back was Herbert, nearly took it. The bottom of the pack is Davis. See plenty of pushing and shoving. Young Davis is getting plenty of the treatment this afternoon after that heavy knock to the side of the face last week. He can feel himself fortunate to be here this afternoon.
Free kick against Lures.
Down the boundary, Rob Popplestone, what's happening?
Thanks for that, Niles. Down on the boundary with this drizzle that's continually falling. A big man coming off the ground in Big Conway for Central Districts, and coming on for his first run of the afternoon is Matthew Jones. And just as I've said that, there actually has been a change on the bench, and they've just instructed the runner to take another player off rather than Conway. So at this stage I can tell you that yep, although Armstrong is coming off, it won't be Conway that will be sitting on the bench. In fact, it will be a Cotter.
Thanks, Rob. I'm glad you fixed that. We were going to send the runner out to you. Swatala on the left. He was prominent in the first term, but we haven't seen a great deal of him in the second quarter. Potter, the old warhorse, had a stint with Sydney and the Bears. He's been the backbone of this side when it gets willing. Jones onto the field. He's marked it. Straight on, and a result straight away.
What a grab. The kid from Tassie puts himself up here to kick a vital goal for the Bulldogs to bring them within 4. They really do need this one.
Viney had the fish clenched, was trying to punch it away, was just caught off balance a little under it. And Jones marks. He's been on the field 20 seconds, and he's got his first, an important one for the Bulldogs.
There's 3 blokes that have come off the interchange today, and have all kicked goals. Armstrong. And now this fellow.
As we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
Thanks for that, DB. Surprisingly enough, Stuart Dew coming off for a rest on the bench, and coming on is number 57.
Mazurowski, Tim Mazurowski. Well, Stewie Dew, fellas, 2 kicks, 2 handballs. Is that enough to stay on? I don't think so.
Oh, well, it's not. When you're halfway through the second quarter or late into the second quarter, you've been playing in the midfield. Your possession should be up around 10 to 15.
Okay.
61 plays 37. 9.5 minute mark of this first quarter. Umpire Bettridge holds the ball aloft. Second quarter, that is. As umpire Bettridge throws it up this time. Herbert gets his hand to it, the Gurkey. Comes to ground, a high tackle, missed by the umpire, comes out wider. Pretty slippery and muddy in the middle of the ground. Viney looks to get it out. It's taken by 3 Bulldogs players, but nearly given away the free kick for holding the ball. Saywell on to Girdham. Girdham from outside 50, pushed it high. Hollett lures, Evil ends up with it, goes wide. It's some good work taken again by the forward line. The Bulldogs, and again the umpires will come in with some good work done by both sides. Conditions really are slippery.
Just love to see that desperation in the forward line as an exemplified there by the Bulldogs. They really were desperate to hold it in. Now they've got to make something of nothing here.
Hollett, Viney, good defensive work. Mazurowski upended as he dispatched the kick. Chambers thumps it down. Evil really seems to have found the pace of league football, and he's really quite comfortable back there now, deliberately along the boundary line, but disguised it beautifully.
Coach Stevie Wright, the Bulldogs coaches, I think these couple of interchange moves that they have made are the right ones. They certainly have created some energy for him.
No doubt he's been a great coach since coming from Tasmania, the Bulldogs. But he hasn't had a lot to work with. When they've had injuries, the Bulldogs, they've really struggled. Their depth this year, sorely tested. And I seek your opinion, Ken, but I think they need to do a fair bit of recruiting in the off-season.
Well, I think they were pretty unlucky at the start of the year when Francis was drafted to Collingwood.
Schaefer,
I should say, yeah, the big fellow. Really did create a big hole for them, but others have stepped up, but it's in the midfield where they're being belted here today.
Viney to Morton, Morton on the left boot, a high one to Sanford. Sanford and Conway do battle, Sanford marks. Well, hasn't he lifted his work rate the last few weeks? So I think he might be injured. Seems to be shouldering, and he's had problems with that the last couple of years. A long ball, Parker brings it to ground. Morton misses it. Conway picks it up, dispatches the handball. Parker cleans him up. Collins thumps it to ground. Now an opportunity for King. Armstrong caught, holding the ball, says the umpire no play on. He's letting it flow out there, giving them a chance. Viney gets the kick away under pressure from Potter. To the outer side it goes. Oh, that's a free. Pollock grabbed Cotton. No doubt that was a free.
So Cotton, Sanford still holding. Looks like his rib area more than his shoulders.
Might have landed on the football.
Good, so he's still moving, he's still out there, so he still wants to be a part of the game. Other games have been played around the state this afternoon. We have Norwood and Port. Norwood still by 14. Scores are even at Adelaide Oval between Sturt and West. And down at Woodville Park, we've got Eagles versus South, and scores are even, so the Eagles have come back. Gerke and Gurdon, also Cook. The umpire calls for the football. Very young crowd here watching this game. So the ball's up. Herbert, good work. Finally ends up with Gerke. Gerke goes down the outer wing. Leach should be first there, he's not. Ball socket forward. Morton comes down, head down. He's taken, he's up. Sanford. Across to King. Coming in also is Parker. Parker goes wide. And the 38 coming through is Wintle. He goes high. Mark nearly taken by Bowden. Desperation showing up over the top was through Jeffries. Unfortunately, the ball couldn't stay in. The boundary umpire will throw it in the forward pocket. The North Adelaide side.
Throw in. Collins in the finish, wins the tap. Scotty Lee off the ground, brings it back inboard. And that one's out of bounds.
It's good play by the Roosters, David. They've worked it from half back right around the boundary line, now into the forward pocket, just through perseverance. They have been clearly better than the Bulldogs in the clinches. These throw-ins and ball-ups have been superior.
Sanford in ruck opposed to Conway. We were critical a month ago of Sanford's form, but hasn't he hit back in the last 3 weeks? He's just been dominant. And Parker, who was probably their dominant forward a month ago, really in the last 2 weeks has drifted out of proceedings. And just worry about their setup because they need both those players firing if they're to get through the finals. It's North by 24 points at Prospect Oval. Stay with us half-time as we have a look at Port Power and their season. We preview the Crows and West Coast tomorrow. And Michael Noonan talks about aggression and, well, a week in the SANFL. Snowden, head down, did pretty well. Snap the goal, coming around. That was Morton, a point.
The Bulldogs should be able to manufacture a goal from this situation. Kicking with a strong breeze like this, they have possession now. It's just a matter of maintaining it as they bring it down the field.
Again, a chance here through Sutala. The Bulldogs to clear. Up there is Craig Potter. Very slippery, the conditions here. 57 is Walton, he couldn't take it. Herbert ends up with it to Gerke. Gerke will get taken. Still has time to recover and get hold of the football. He's taken again, the umpire will come in. Again, Dunny Holmes in there, tackling. She has done so well this afternoon.
It's a good, strong tackle. Eyes for the body, just wrapped him up and brought him to ground.
So Saywell coming through, head down as Gurdon. Jones in over the top. A couple of players there with long sleeve Guernsey, Roger Gurdon, also Richard Gerke. Couple of Blorton playmakers, their respective sides. Bit hard to get hold of the football. Keep your feet, the ball goes forward. Coming out as Cotton, quick handball across. Watala couldn't quite find the centre of the goals. Brings up another point. So 23-point margin here at the 26.5-minute mark of this second quarter.
What a great pick up by Cotton. Ground level, terrific work to be able to pick that up at full pace and flick it out.
Morton working hard in defence. Comes back on the left, chips it short. Oh, great courage underneath that one. Good mark taken by Holm. You mentioned about his aggression, Ken, at the ball. Well, he certainly found it on that occasion. Lockwood misses it. Saywell mops up. That's the first time they've played the centre corridor in the last 5 or so minutes. Big fly, Cotton up before acceptance is off the ground. It's a point. It was a great effort, wasn't it?
He certainly was up before acceptances. Might have got in the back also, but then was able to keep his feet like a cat and finally force it through for a behind. They did muck that up on the switch of play. The pass just wasn't good enough coming into the corridor.
Somehow that kick from full-back has found Hollett. Just Sting's been taken out of the game momentarily. It's beginning towards the end of the second quarter. Ball comes to ground. Evil again will see the ball go out over the line. And you can just sense at the moment the players are just in reserve, just holding a little bit back for that second half. But really the Bulldogs can't afford. They need another couple of goals before this quarter finishes. Good work again by Herbert. His ruck work is very good this afternoon. Comes out to King. King onto his left boot. Kicks it high. You see the ball holding up in front. Good use of the body by Steinberger. The umpire got his hand signals right. Steinberger takes the mark. So Nathan Steinberger kicks it up. Again up over the top was Chambers, but couldn't do anything with it. Ron Bettridge, umpire Ron Bettridge comes in to ball her up.
Lewis is just, it's in a half forward, just running under the ball way too often, not being able to use his body enough to keep Davis off the contest. Davis, a Spring-Hill Jack, very effective with his spoiling when he's allowed to have a free rein at free jump at the footy.
I think that's a pretty fair comment, Ken, but if you're an experienced centre forward like Simon Lewis, you've just got to tell the ruck rovers and the half forward flankers to stop crowding you and give him some space, and he doesn't seem to be pushing them away. We're in agreement. Herbert thumps it down. King goes to ground. Great pressure. Jones flicks it out. The umpire said there's a free kick, however, it's coming back. And Jones will take the free kick. He's too far out to score, so he squares it up beautifully. And underneath this one, Cook marks.
He should kick this goal, Cook. He's been quiet, but he is a renowned goal kicker. This will test him, but there is a strong breeze. It is late in the second quarter. The ball is heavy. The legs will be heavy. But I still think he should be able to get the distance. The ball carrying with the breeze.
Kicked a point today. Early in his career, he's perhaps 50 games for something like 25 or 26 goals. He's now kicked 98 in 84, but that one's not a goal.
Got the distance, but missed the accuracy. Gee, I hate to see that. As a coach.
Well, it gives you a chance to get back in the game, doesn't it?
Certainly does. The time zone to the game, they're just so important. If you can manufacture a goal late in the quarter and then open up after half-time with the first one, it really puts your team in a greater position.
Coming through strong, and the ball's been kicked forward again.
Chambers.
Couldn't quite find it. It was Chambers. Couldn't quite find the target. There's some good defensive skills shown by the Roosters. Just hanging on here at the 30-minute mark of this last quarter. Siren can only be moments away.
Stewie Dew sits on the interchange bench. Grant Coffey, Craig Cotter for the Bulldogs. From the kick out, King just got a fingertip at Wintle. Hollett, Evil. Booms one forward, but it was off the outstep of the boot, and it fell in the arms of Lewis, who plays on quickly. gives it off to Conway. 80 metres out, drives it along towards the goal square. It's a beautiful kick. Cotton marks and goals. Jared Cotton puts it through and gets his third. He's kicked 3 goals, 1 from full forward this afternoon.
And we were a bit critical there before of Lures not being able to read the play, but he really did read it well then. Intercepted the attack from the Roosters. Handball quickly inboard to the big fellow who booted the ball long. Cotton read it well. He read it brilliantly and then finished off with a goal, a crucial goal for the Bulldogs.
You talk about time on, Ken. They were 25 points down only 5 minutes ago. They're now 15 points down and coming with a charge.
Yeah, and I just throw that equation again to the viewers. If you can kick goals in the time-on zones, the time zones of the quarters, you add that up. You get the last one of the first quarter, the last one of the second, the first one of the third. You know, it's 3 goals difference. You don't lose or win too many goals by more than that.
Conway kicks it off the ground, goes through half forward. Evil out in front of Mazarowski, pushes it forward. Chambers goes with a kick off the ground and just inside the line of bounds. So there's Evil, number 50 for the Roosters. He has been tough and uncompromising from a back pocket today for the Roosters. And we're 32 minutes into the second term. It's a long quarter. In ruck, Herbert wins the tap. Loose one falls, paddles it back. Potter couldn't control it. Armstrong comes through with the ball, but 3-on-1. So the siren sounded at half-time at Prospect Oval. It's the Roosters by 15 points, Ken, and Centrals really shouldn't have been allowed to get back into the game.
No, they shouldn't have been, but that will give them a great deal of confidence in the rooms, in the locker rooms at half-time. They just started to get a little squirt on. It was a pretty lacklustre second quarter, difficult conditions as they may be, but they have closed the gap a little bit, have the Bulldogs. Gee, they had some great players too. I thought Steinburner was good, and Hicks has done a terrific job at full-back. Swatala's been thereabouts. Lee, though reported, has been pretty well. Saywell has been good, and Cotton up forward was good. For the Roosters, Morton, Sutherland and Gerke probably their best, along with Sanford, who's taken a number of marks at centre-half forward at Viney. I was very impressed with Wintle and Evil in that quarter.
So at half-time at Prospect Oval, it's North Adelaide 10 goals to 62, leading Central 7-5-47. Stay with us for the half-time entertainment. You're watching SANFL football on ABC Sport.
Hello everyone, Magarey Medal is just over the horizon and Roy and I will be joining you for the big night. Roy, why do you love the Magarey Medal?
Oh, I love it. I love the tension, I love the passion, I love the stupidity, and I love looking at winners, because winners, as you well know, are grinners. That's why I'll be there.
Roy and HG, what a couple of characters they are. They'll join us September the 16th at the Football Park Convention Centre, 8:30 live for the Magarey Medal count. Who's your winner? Andrew Jarman, Danny Morton, maybe. A couple of others, Brodie Atkinson, Simon Feast will certainly feature in that telecast. So join us Tuesday the 16th of September for that one. Well, as usual, Michael Noonan joins us at half-time to give us his thoughts on football. It's a black week in the SANFL, and Michael Noonan has a look at the black mark on the local game.
There was a very nasty incident at Norwood Oval last week. At half-time, as players left the ground, there was a significant clash in the race. Now, in a normal week, this incident would have been pursued by the media ad infinitum. But as we all know, this has not been a normal week, and I'd hate to let the incident pass without comment. If players and coaches can't walk from our ground without some form of verbal or physical clash, then I don't think they're worthy of being a part of the game. Probably more disturbing has been the, I guess, lack of urgency by the SANFL, Norwood or North to actually discipline the players and coaches that were involved in what I believe to be a black mark on our game. Whilst the focus of the SANFL is probably not what it used to be as in past years, I don't think there's any need or cause for us to lose or compromise the standards that have existed for many, many years. It's been, I think, a competition of great significance in the development of many, many young men. And I think, unfortunately, this sort of example that not being dealt with very quickly has left a very, very big black mark
in a very, very abnormal week. Now to tomorrow's game. I only hope that 40,000 screaming fans can be like me and just pray that the Crows can take the South Australian football banner to the MCG next week. Go the Crows.
Good on you, Michael. Go the Crows, no doubt about that, Ken. But just coming back to his comment about a black mark on the SANFL, now players are going down the race at Nord Oval. It's one of the few races, I think it's one of 2 races in the SANFL where both teams go down. Now, there was a bit of a scuffle. We were told that Norwood and North players were involved, and Norwood and North coaches. Now, what happens in that incident? You're a week away or 2 weeks away from the finals. You're not going to give each other over, surely, are you?
Well, you're silly if you do. I think both clubs have just simply closed ranks, so they can only lose if they open up on each other. And whilst it might have been a black mark on the game, I think it's been going on for 100 years, and it's probably best forgotten, done and dusted, and on with next week's finals.
I think the SANFL handled it pretty well in the finish. I don't think we needed anything like that on our front pages, and I don't think there was much in it, frankly. It's just young men having a bit of a dip. Well, it's time probably to reflect, isn't it, on Port Adelaide's season. Last week their loss against St Kilda put them out of the finals race, and a lot of people were very disappointed. I, for one, I thought if they'd have got in the finals, maybe just the Port Adelaide tradition and emotion might have got them through. There's the scoreboard. Now, it was never close. They never looked like winning the game, Ken, but if you look at their season overall, it hasn't been a bad year.
Well, I probably disagree with you a little bit, David, that 3/4 time they probably were in the game, but it was just the brilliance of Harvey,
basically. They were 6 points down, but they didn't look like winners, Ken. No, I think that's the point, were they?
Yeah, they weren't playing, well, I guess St Kilda weren't allowing them to play that well, but St Kilda is the form side of the competition, and in all, I think Port Adelaide have probably had more than they expected this year. I don't think anybody really expected them to do as well as they did.
John Cale did a great job coaching.
And just full compliments to him and his match committee. In fact, the entire Port Adelaide Football Club is congratulated. It really has brought a tremendous atmosphere to football, and really has enlightened conversation for me, for everybody in this state. It's something other to talk about than the Crows.
As we go down to Mark Nailey and Rob Popplestone on the boundary. Fellas, Port Adelaide's debut season pretty much better than anyone anticipated. They had wins, Mark, with their coaching and a lot of their young players.
Yeah, some people question the start of the season whether John Cale's the right person, whether you needed a 70s coach to take a 90s side into the finals, but gee, I tell you what, he's proved us all wrong. And how about your comment? They weren't in the game for the whole night. You are joking, aren't you?
They never looked like
6 points at 3/4 time.
You've got to be kidding. If you could tell me they were going to win that game last week, they looked like they were spent. They were going on emotion. I thought they'd done a great job, but they never, to me, looked like they were going to win.
Don't try to get out of it. You made a mistake. Listen to it. They were 6 points down at 3/4 time. Had every chance
Did
to
you
win
ever
that
think
game.
they were going to win that game?
Yes, I did. My money was on them.
Gee, you are a dyed-in-the-wool Port man, aren't you? You never give in till the end. Well, what
Just
about
get back to their season.
Michael Wilson? A real find this year. I think Braden Lyle, I think a lot of people thought he was a second-string player at West Coast, but he really has proved his mettle this season.
Yeah, even Scotty Cummins as well. I mean, there's a fair bit of pressure, and they needed someone to be able to kick goals. They were hoping that Scotty Hodges was going to come up, but he didn't. But lucky enough for Scotty Hodges, I mean, he was only, I think he finished with about 70 goals for the season, which isn't a bad effort either.
Now, they've got a cull 7 players. Mark, you're the man to do the job for us. Who do you think's going to get the chop?
Well, you'd have to look at a few of their players. At the moment, Scotty Hodges' name's been bandied around. We see Osborne's already given the game away. But just don't be surprised at the moment. Now, you're hearing it live, well, the first time here, David, but Warren Treadray, his neck may be on the line as well at the moment. I've heard possibly rumours around town this week that he may be traded, even maybe to the Crows.
Oh, OK, we're not going to get into rumours again with Mark Nailey, Ken, are we? They're detrimental to a footy club.
Well, what a time of the year it is for the viewers watching like this time of the year. That really does go silly, the rumour.
What about Essendon and the Crows last week? How did you see that match? It was one that Adelaide had to win and didn't. They're going into the finals with poor form.
Well, it just puts further evidence of the Crows' softness, and it really does throw the ball right back in their court. You know, to win tomorrow, they need to prove their mettle, prove if they really have what it takes.
Well, it was disappointing to me in a match they should have won. As we go to some of the highlights and have a look at them. Modra, the last month for him, Ken, has been disappointing.
Oh yes, but I suppose that happens, and Jamison there did stand up when it was needed. But the West Coast tomorrow, they match up, I think, very, very well. And if Modra can't fire, I think that the Crows are in real trouble.
Bond here puts through a good goal as we go down to Rob Popplestone. Rob, Jamison, 6 goals, save a fair bit of face for the Crows.
Well, it did. Jamison's one of those players, of course, leading goal kicker for the Crows in their inaugural year.
Excuse me, Rob, that was where Peter Vardy was concussed. That's a great mark by Smart. But the Vardy incident, would you have thought there would have been a report there?
No, definitely not. As you can see, he had a very heavily bruised chest, and after that, of course, maybe the elbow come up late for the player involved for Essendon, of course, only had the ball in mind.
Well, there's the sealer. Essendon were home, always home at that point. and one convincing. I think Essendon saved their season, frankly, but the Crows now, there's a few question marks. Malcolm Blight this week has said that he's disappointed in the build-up, but I thought maybe he would have been keen that the focus was off the Crows.
Well, that's right. It's certainly a positive as far as the players are concerned. But look, at this time of the year, it's very difficult to judge form because players can sometimes act as individuals and protect themselves so that they can get their name in the first final side. And last week you might have seen that, a bit of that by the Crows. Like they might have thought that they'll just play for themselves a little bit, but they've really got to turn their attitude around now this week against one of the most professional outfits that I've certainly seen in football, and they have been right up there for the last 10 years, basically, the West Coast Eagles. Like I think they'll beat the Crows tomorrow.
Well, last time the West Coast Eagles met the Crows at Football Park, it was a blowout. 16-10, 106, West Coast 4-7-31. Now, Ken, West Coast were without key players that day, but Adelaide were just fantastic.
Yes, they were, and no doubt about that. But again, back to the West Coast, some of their players that are back and in form, just some sensational name and a great deal of finals experience in that West Coast lineup.
And who's your tip?
The West Coast, I think, will win.
We'll go down to Mark Nayley on the boundary line. You're an anti-Crow man. You're going to go for the West Coast, surely, Mark?
Yeah, definitely, David. I just look at them, and I agree with Ken. The match-up, they look pretty good today. I mean, tomorrow. But, you know, that centre-half back line of Worsfold, also Jakovic and McKenna, and also Matera at in the back pocket. It's just too strong, too good. And as you said, if Modra and Robin don't fire, there's no show for the Crows.
If you don't mind me saying, Mark, we don't really worry about who you tip, because the man we really are interested in is Rob Bobblestone. His tipping form this year has been outstanding. Rob, tell me you're going for the Crows.
DB, I'm going for the Crows.
Now, are you really going for the Crows?
No, I'm really going for the Crows. It'll be right down to the wire, but I think the Crows at home might just fall over the line.
Good on you. The home final is a real advantage. As we go to the lineups, the Adelaide lineup. Today, Modra at full forward, Robin at centre-half forward, Rashudo, if he's fully fit now. Rob, you've been sniffing around the traps. Is Rashudo fit? Can he play in the middle?
I think Rashudo will play. Whether he's capable of playing in the middle, I'm not too sure.
Well, the other question mark was Pittman in ruck. Is he fully fit?
Yes, I think he's fully fit. He's just out of form, as are many of the Crows players, unfortunately. But look, it comes finals time, you get yourself on that, you get yourself over that boundary line. You're fully fit, as far as I'm concerned.
As we go to the West Coast lineup, Mark Nayley, you're an expert on this mob. They look pretty good, probably one of their best teams for the year.
Yeah, got a good blend of youth and experience. Only a couple of young players there, Gardner, but he's supposed to be having a bit of an injury, and also Cousins. But I mean, look at that side. You know, Gerhig and heading on a half-forward line with Donnelly's been in very good form. But Sumic, I mean, the match-up with Sumic, that's going to be very, very interesting. But also, I mean, just go through that whole side. They have got a team, they're virtually full of champions.
And don't forget tomorrow the ABC coverage on 5am, 8:91 on your AM dial. Roger Wills and the boys, they'll pick it up a little after 12 and give you great radio coverage. So don't forget to tune into ABC Radio. I'm sure you'll enjoy the commentary. If you're sitting at the ground or you're driving around in your car at home, it's 8:91 on the AM dial. Well, the big story in the week was Justin Charles, wasn't it? A lot of people, a lot of footballers were very disappointed that steroids have really been exposed in AFL football in particular. Well, Justin got his 16 weeks suspension. He took it right on the chin.
Justin Charles's career hung in the balance. He faced a year out of the game as he fronted the tribunal in the AFL's first case of steroid abuse. He was suspended for 16 matches.
Just at this stage too, I'd like to thank all the people that all the Richmond people that sent in letters and cards, and
the 27-year-old says he turned to anabolic steroids in a desperate bid to get back onto the playing arena.
I knew it was wrong, but I was desperate. I acknowledge that it was completely wrong and there's no excuse. I let down my teammates, my club, myself, my family.
The tribunal took into account a range of factors in deciding not to impose the maximum 22-week penalty.
The player's plea of guilty, his stated remorse, his stated intention to undergo drug counselling and to undertake community service with the Australian Drug Foundation.
The penalty is light in comparison to some Olympic sports.
We can see that variations go from 4 years in sports like swimming down to 6 months in sports like cycling.
Why should anyone be banned for life or have a career ruined because they made one mistake?
While he will miss most of next year's season, Charles has a future in the game, with Richmond standing by its man.
Justin is a required Richmond player, and the Richmond Football Club will be supporting Justin through this period of suspension.
Charles wouldn't say who gave him the drugs, other than to say it had no connection with Richmond. He did admit it was his own idea. The AFL says it's satisfied with the penalty and its own testing procedures.
We do test probably more of our participants than most other sports, and we do it on a regular basis.
And Charles has turned anti-drugs campaigner.
Keep your nose clean and listen to your doctors at your club.
Charles admits it's been a harrowing week and says he couldn't have coped without the support of his teammates.
Yes, very difficult time, Ken. The AFL Tribunal, most people think they got it right, 16 weeks.
I fully agree, David. I think, that young fellow there, he's shattered, he's sorry, but he's honest. He admits he's made a mistake, and it's a good example for all and sundry that are watching and aspiring to play at that level of football.
As we go down to Mark Nally. Mark, you happy with the suspension?
Yeah, you'd have to say. I mean, it may have been a different circumstances. I reckon if that was round maybe 2 or 3, but coming to sort of round 22, I think that tribunal had no other cause than other to go for 16 weeks, which still allows him to play next season.
Thanks for that, Mark. Will you stay right there, because we might introduce you in the Hard as Nails segment. You've always got some interesting thoughts on football. This week it's the SANFL reports versus the AFL reports.
Yeah, there's been plenty of speculation over the last 4 months. A lot of people haven't been too happy with the umpiring and also with the tribunal. I know a couple of times this year on Hard as Nails I have been absolutely disgusted at what has occurred as far as the wrestling and also tripping and just some of the decisions that have been made this year. But just go back and just have a look at how many reports have been made in round 22, so in the 22 minor rounds this year. AFL 142 reports for a total games of 145, whereas SANFL, not too often, Dave, as you know, I give the applause to the SANFL, but here I must say to them, good on them. I mean, they're doing a good job. 19 reports for 15 games totals. AFL video charges, 75, would you believe, video charges this year in wrestling. The one that I just cannot understand is 31 of those, and also tripping. That's another ridiculous one as well with 3. You just go through the team reports. The Western Bulldogs, this season, I mean, they really have turned their game around this year. The Western Bulldogs with 19 players up this year with reports for 17 games. You go right down to Adelaide, who has had 2 this year. But then you look on the victims as well, the blokes that have been up there who really had to give evidence to see Western Bulldogs up there again with 17 players. But to me, at the moment, the AFL really may be going the wrong way as far as their reporting system is going this year. And things must change. I mean, there must be, I would have to say, one of the most over-officiated games in Australia.
I probably agree with that, Ken, to be frank.
I certainly do, David, and I just refer back to an article I read of Graham Corns in the Advertiser a few weeks ago.
Couldn't agree with that more too.
Spot on. As a former coach, I think his writing is terrific, but that was one of the best articles that I've ever read, and I think it's absolutely spot on. Finishing there with Mark's comments, they are over-officiating this great game of ours and turning it into a bit of a...
Be careful not to kill it.
Yeah,
fair enough. Exactly. Mark, you've had a look. I put you on the spot earlier about some of the Port Power players that might be delisted, but you've had a chance to have a look at both the Crow squads and the Port Power squads and suggest who might be going off their lists.
Yeah, we spoke about the Port players before, but I reckon the Adelaide side, I mean, they have to delist 4 players. Okay, they can bring them straight back on again, but they have to delist players. There are a few players that haven't been around this year. I mean, Sean Tasker, his job must be on the line. Also, Mark Fisker, the same club down the bay. I mean, his job also must be on the line. But we all know that Benny Parker's gone back to Victoria for a bit of a holiday. He mightn't come back, but maybe a couple of others will. Who knows? Maybe McCarthy down at our old club, Ken, down at Noongar. I mean, his line also must be sort of questioned at the moment.
All right, putting a line through a couple of those players might be hurtful for Jason McCartney. I think he's got a bit of AFL life in him just yet, Mark. Well, you've always been critical of Crow supporters, none so much as this week.
We heard Michael Nunes just speak about the unusual week we've had this year, or this week at least, but just, what's happened this week was got our first home final in Adelaide and we can't sell the place out. I just could not believe it. And whether it's the members having to fork out another sort of $34 towards on top of their membership, maybe a little bit too steep, but it does surprise me that maybe those Chardonnay sippers like to sit home in their lounge chair instead of getting down to the football park tomorrow afternoon. But it has surprised me, but it just proves me again that the Crow supporters really haven't got the passion of the Port Adelaide supporters.
Oh, I don't know about that. Well, you be the judge at home. Crow supporters, get down and support your side tomorrow. There's still some members' tickets left, members' guests available at the SANFL office. 9 to 5 today they're selling tickets, so go down and buy them. Get behind the Crows and support them. We need to win this home final. In other games around town this afternoon, Norwood and Port at Norwood Oval. Norwood 4-9, Port 3-6. The margin 9 points at half-time in favour of the Redlegs. At Adelaide Oval, it's 3-13. Sturt with very inaccurate kicking. 31 still lead West Adelaide 3-4-22. The margin there 9 points at half-time. At Woodville Oval, the Eagles have stepped away. They're 51 to 34 points. 17 points clear in the battle for the wooden spoon at Woodville Oval. Well, Ken, you've got to say that this season been a very interesting year of SANFL footy. We thought mid-year that only one team could win, and now we've got 5 teams that realistically can get up and win the flag.
Well, Norwood were undefeated at that stage, but they went down in a quick hurry to both Port Adelaide and Central District, and it really did open up the equation. I've just been delighted with the form of North Adelaide. I mentioned Troy Lehman being a serious loss to them, and they have a number of key players out today, such as Noonan and Squire, who will be very prominent in the finals. Brenton Phillips sitting on the interchange there in an assistant coaching role with Chris McDermott, but I just like the way the Roosters are playing, and if they can have a good run of form, they're going to be thereabouts.
Rob Popplestone's a pretty good judge. Rob, down to the boundary line, do you think the Roosters can be the first side since Norwood in 1984 to win the flag from 5th spot?
No, I don't. I think they'll go a long way towards achieving that, but I don't think they're the best side in the competition. As I said before the game, I think Norwood by far are the best side in the competition, and the 4 below that, Port Adelaide, Central Districts, of course North Adelaide, as you mentioned, and the Double Blues, of course, have all been fairly consistent and fairly even, but North Adelaide will be knocking on the door.
Well, Sturt, if it's a dry final series, Ken, I think they've got some good big men. Feast is good. White is very good in their forward line.
Stanfield in that side is very prominent and a key player for them. And it's just been great to see. Like, it really has livened the SANFL competition. These two sides playing such a delightful style of football to watch.
Okay, at half-time here at Prospect Oval, the half-time score, North Adelaide 10-2-62, Central are 7-5-47. Goal kickers, Jeffries 2, Morton 2, Gerke, Foden and Armstrong 1 each for North Adelaide. Cotton has 3, the main goal kicker for the Bulldogs, and statistically, as we go through them, not much in the kicks, not a lot in the marks, and in the handball department, North Adelaide a lot slicker than the Bulldogs. So to take you into the 3rd quarter here at Prospect Oval, your commentators, Mark Nayley and Ken Sheldon.
It's a very wet and wintry afternoon here at Prospect Oval as the first ball's been thrown up. Rain still falling. Some quick hands across. Number 38 coming out of the pack there was Winchell. Ball goes high. Good mark taken by Steinberner. So Nathan Steinberner onto his left boot. Comes through the middle of the ground. Mark nearly taken there by Armstrong. Ball comes to ground. They need to get it away from the middle of the ground because it is muddy and it is boggy. 25 is Jones. Kicks up. Good spoil from behind. Saywell. Ball comes back around to Slatali. He goes up high. Good spoil by Herbert from behind. Taken high was King for the Roosters, and he'll receive the free kick.
Too many of the Rooster players just getting to the front and square of that pack. Not enough Central players before the Roosters are able to clear the ball.
Oof, taken high there was Evil. Gets the ball moving a bit further on. 25 coming through is Sutherland. Kicks the ball up wide. Collins really takes the mark. Comes to ground. Taken high. Umpire wasn't in a good position to see it. Morton comes around. What did he do with it? He goes to the ground. Very slippery. Ball's handball forward. Gerke takes it. Crosses. Comes out to Sutherland. Up high. Mark should be taken by Conway. It was called play on. It was touched off the boot. Parker comes through. Just a bash and crash. The ball's thrown forward onto Barney. Barney around his body. Couldn't quite bring it back and it's gone out on the fall.
A little bit of poetic justice there, Ken. That was clearly a throw, and if Barney had kicked the goal there, it would have been an injustice.
But again, the umpire in the wrong position to see that. It's Gerke leaving the arena.
It's a big loss for the North Adelaide side if Gerke doesn't come back on.
Gerke's off as we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
You caught Gerke coming on for the North Adelaide side. He's Dan O'Loughlin. I'll update what the problem is with Gerke in just a moment.
Thanks for that, Rob. Coffey on the field. Started the game on the interchange bench and spent the first half there. And can he fire them up? Sanford underneath this one, takes front position, punched away from him. Loose ball falls away. The Roosters unable to capitalise, however, and Conway marks at centre-half back. We should explain to our viewers, we're missing a few players, but from the back of the grandstand, it's very dark and black here at Prospect Oval, and the cameras, fortunately, bring the players into your lounge room, but we're finding it very difficult to see them from back here. That's Lockwood into the outer boundary fence. And a free kick. So please bear with us. It's very dark and very black at Prospect Oval. Lockwood with the kick from half back, goes to half forward, just lobs it up in the area. Lucas Herbert underneath that one. The ball's just lobbed right in his arm. I don't think he even knew it was there. He was more surprised than anybody. Oh, look at the kick. It's a beauty, though.
underneath this one, squeezing it out was little Chrissy Robertson towards half forward, and look, Jeffries has marked just outside the 40-metre zone. He's about 44 metres out as he goes for goal.
The Bulldogs have lost the plot here momentarily. On 2 occasions, Grant Coffey has had to chase small, fleet-footed North Adelaide players across half forward. So a little bit of organisation will be needed by the Bulldogs.
Jeffries, who has kicked 2 goals, correction. 2, and he goes long. Make it 2 goals, 1.
It's the wind carrying that ball from left to right. Very difficult conditions here at the moment. Windy, wet. Scotty Lee with the football. Usually finds a target. Not that time.
Yes, this time, unfortunately, it's in a red and white jersey.
What a good special comment that was.
Very diplomatic, usually, the word used. This fellow will turn around and put it straight back over your head, and don't you just hate that when you kick out? Happens to us all, though, Scotty.
We're glad, Rathon. Must have sore ribs. It looks as though he must have started the day with that rib injury.
If that's the case, they won't risk him any further.
So Jason King, 45 metres out, directly in front. He's put this through, put it down, mark it down your book. Another goal of Jason King. That's his first for the afternoon. And 69 now, plays 47.
And that's a good goal. Learning from the Jeffries miss just moments earlier, went back and kicked his 4th goal.
He doesn't kick a lot of goals, Ken, does he?
For his career.
There's 39 senior games. He played with the Eagles mainly in defence. This year with North Adelaide as a ruck rover, half-back and wingman as we go down to Rob Popplestone on the boundary.
Coming on for the Bulldogs at the moment, DB, was young Jew. Coming off will be Sean Chambers, and the problem appears to be with Richard Gerke. He's back. He's getting strapped up at the moment. As you notice, he runs very upright and always has that back strap, so at the moment there may be a problem with that.
Thanks for that, Rob. Scotty Lee pushes the ball towards the boundary line. And Richard Gerke, Ken, they really hurt when you get the ribs or the backbone injured.
Yeah, and he was clearly in the better players on the ground too in the first half. And you really...
Remember that Hodges, it would appear, has his left knee heavily strapped and iced.
Just after belting into the concrete there on the side of the ground. It's one of the legacies of having the boundary so close to the fencing, but there's nothing you can do about it in a small arena such as this.
Now, we might remind our viewers that we are going to leave at 4:30 today. We know that we're normally with you till 5, but we're going to a special ABC news feature and then to the funeral of Diana, Princess of Wales. So I think all football supporters would understand that we won't be able to bring you the final quarter here, even if it is close, but I think in the world scale there's a few more important things going on.
Just other news to hand as well, David, is that Brett James is lined up for the Norwood side this afternoon. He's playing in the SANFL, so that means Mark Rasciuto will be lining up tomorrow for the Adelaide Crows. We see North go forward again through King. He kicked the last goal around his body. Another goal, another 6 points. That's his second for the quarter. And North Adelaide are in total charge here. The Bulldogs, they need something. They don't know where from, but they definitely need it.
Well, they've just got to turn it around in midfield. Perhaps someone like Cotton or something could be released into the midfield, but they're just getting belted, other Bulldogs, in that area. And that fellow there with that goal, like, you know, this is the conditions that he really has to excel, and he's doing just that.
.28 margin, 38-point margin. We keep going. 75 plays 47, 12-3 plays 7-5. Evil comes through. Couldn't quite get rid of it. Holm, strong work. Girdham in there, Herbert as well. Coming through is Varney, taken high. Full soccer towards the boundary line. Players held from behind. Looked like it was due. Switala.
It's a good decision too, the umpire.
So Switala puts the ball up. Good mark taken by Bowen Lockwood.
Terrific body strength. Push his opponent out the last moment and then control the ball in the air. Take a fine mark. He's probably too far out to kick the goal into this stiff breeze.
see it rain, falling on your screens at home. Beauden Lockwood got the gloves on. Just doesn't assist when you are in these sort of conditions. A young 19-year-old.
See Big Conway work his way down into the goal square too as the ruckman. Just provides something in height for the Bulldogs.
The ball's well short. Coming across. Some good work there. Just couldn't quite pick the player up. So conditions very difficult for the players, but also for our commentary team. The outer side of the oval.
Wouldn't be so bad, Mark, if we weren't all blind. Holm, high over the top, thumps it down. King snaffles the loose ball and drives it forward. Steinburner, who's been solid today, Ken.
You've seen him in his AFL debut. He looked a little overawed by it all, but come back to this level of competition and has settled well, applying himself very, very well. So Mine should be given another opportunity in time.
He's had more kicks than any other player on the ground, 14 kicks, 2 handballs, so in very wet conditions, finding plenty of the ball. There's that young pie-eating Bulldog who's a camera hog.
Covered up the ears too, cold.
It is still raining at Prospect Oval, in fact quite heavily now, as Coffey goes underneath the ball, unsettled by Collins. Loose ball falls at the back. Steinburner just finding plenty of the ball. He really is a wet weather player. Chips it in short. Wayward kick, however, on that occasion. Getting the ball away was Brad Warner and Parker. Grab when not in possession, said the umpire.
A doubtful one, but the umpire again a lot closer than us. Playing the free kick. Parker.
60 metres out. A long ball deep into the forward zone. Underneath this one, Jeffries, 2 hands, brings it to ground. Steinburner, well, he evaded his own man in the finish and then kicked it along the boundary and out of play.
Where he got that ball that impressed me, David, is to the front and square of that pack. The ball had only 2 places to go, really. Skid over the back of the behind or come to the front. And there was Steinburner unable to clear it to the safety of the boundary.
They say football supporters are a hardy lot. None more so than that fellow. Rosenboom to Morton on the left boot. Morton's already kicked a couple. Can he bend this one through? Just offline, it's a point. So he's kicked, 2 goals, 3. Morton, he's been busy.
Yes, probably North Adelaide's best player, as Steinburner would be for the Bulldogs. So, seeing good exhibition by those 2 players.
Scotty Lee brings the ball back in. Over top was Herbert. Did well to bring the ball back in. Morton's there. Couldn't quite get his hands down before his feet, and the ball beats him out over the line. Just maybe suffering from a little bit of cramp. He's covered a fair bit of territory. Some of these players haven't played in these sort of conditions since last year.
Craig Potter on the boundary, warming up for the Bulldogs. Wonder perhaps if he mightn't be a benefit to his side out there, particularly in these conditions.
I think that's a fair call, Ken. You don't know whether they're fully fit. You don't know what the coach's instructions were in the first half. That's always the difficulty in the media. You pass assessments on coaches. You don't know what specific jobs they've given players before they take them off. Saywell streaks away with the ball from half back, delivers it long and low out towards the outer wing. Underneath this one, Cook flicks it to inboard. Saywell claimed, dispossessed. 39 going hard at it for North Adelaide as Dan O'Loughlin. And there are some very hardy football supporters.
So once again, the ball's thrown up. Sanford tried to use his body. Girdham some good hands across to Saywell. Saywell comes inside, does it to Dew. Dew on his left leg. Drives the ball to the goal square. Good use from behind. Couldn't quite take it. Lockwood spurs there. He's taken beautifully from behind. Holland, what will he do with it? Go for the point. Throws the ball out to Davis. Davis around his body. And the Roosters clear it. Out to Morton. Some good defensive work done by the boys in the red and white jumpers. So Morton down the inside wing. Sanford behind. Schwartz in there as well. Handball over the top. Collins punches it back towards his goals. Comes back to Conway. Comes inside Lockwood, who's touched the ball a few times. Got a player here by himself in Tim Cook. Just takes it. Needs to break through. Couldn't quite do enough with it. He really is having a dirty day as Morton ends up with it. Comes over the top. Again, the ball's kicked high. Collins and Sanford. At the front of the pack was Girdham. Couldn't take it. As Smatala can't kick the ball in.
It's when your confidence is down, things don't quite go right for you. These conditions don't make it any easier, but gee, Cook really out of sorts there. What was the easiest of opportunities.
As the ball comes back into play, Herbert thumps it down. Schwert hurries one forward. And not being able to hold it in is Mazurowski.
Back to Cook. You've just got to work your way through those situations. He's got to get himself into the game, throw himself into the game with every bit of mental discipline he's got.
Your point, though, is it doesn't matter whether you make an impact 10 minutes into the first quarter or time on in the last quarter. You're still going, you can make a difference. I think a lot of players forget that. They think if they don't get the ball early, their game's gone. But a lot of more games are won in the last 10 minutes than they are in the first 10, that's for sure. Another kick to touch. Players are becoming pretty adept at that.
Morton's been good this afternoon, hasn't he, fellas? Yep. Again, just seems to clean up, mops up, gets the ball forward on all occasions. Kicked a couple of goals as well. In these sort of conditions, that is valuable.
Just quickly back to your point too, David. There's an old saying: you keep a champion down all day, keep him down, but you can't keep him down all day. And the reason you can't keep a champion down all day is because of his work rate, his preparedness just to keep presenting himself. And that's the lesson for any youngsters listening and watching. Just take a role. Take a leaf out of the champions' books, your idols, and just watch how hard they do work.
The whole game.
And base yourself around that.
Warner, claim, goes to ground. The umpire hasn't blown the whistle. King came back into traffic. Armstrong tried to go off the ground, so too did Davis. Working it through Sable. He's working hard in these wet conditions. He really is a mudlark. Now Cook just pushes one forward to Bowen Lockwood. Tried to give him space to run onto it, but over the top of it, Viney works very hard, and wrapping him up was Matty Jones. So you'd suspect that with the margin as it is, 29 points in favour of North, rain pouring down, 15 minutes into the third quarter, the Roosters will go on and win this and have some winning form going into the finals. They'll take on Sturt next week in the elimination final. The loser is finished, while Central have to butter up against Port Adelaide in the qualifying final. North Adelaide carrying some injuries into next week. It's a difficult equation, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and as a player, all the resources you've got available to you, you utilise over this next few weeks to get yourself up and ready. You desperately want to play in the finals. That's what the reason you do play football. It's a team game, you play for the mateship of it, but the success of it, and that's what it's all about in September. It really does separate. It's when you prove yourself as a player.
Again, some strong work. It's not pretty football. Free kick has been given out. Do everything to get the ball forward. Sock it, bash it, crash it, just get it up towards your goal mouths. The ball's come out. Sanford should take this. He does with his chest. Some good work by Sanford. He's got the long sleeve Guernsey on after half time. Got the player running out wide.
I just wonder whether
find him.
Sorry,
probably
Mark.
takes the mark.
Just wonder whether it might be covering some strapping. He was holding his shoulder during the second quarter. I wonder whether or perhaps his ribs. You're indicating. Okay.
Up again, Sanford. Contested with Lewis. Sultan had nowhere to go. Just hadn't got the ability to be able to move on this sort of conditions.
Ken, would I be right in that the Bulldogs have played wide all day? They're not going to win a final by playing wide, are they?
No, they need to go through the middle corridor more, but again, Lewis just seems to have been running himself under the ball a fair bit today, and perhaps they'll need to find some confidence in him, and he'll certainly need to find some confidence in himself.
Yeah, but they're just crowding him. I can't believe how they're crowding their centre forward, and they can't win a final with a forward set up like they've got if they're just going to keep crowding their key forwards. The ball just doesn't come in. Doesn't give their runners anywhere to run.
To mine, the Roosters are really getting back there well too, blocking that part of the ground up particularly well.
So Lewis dispatches a kick. Lockwood 2-on-1 back there. Evil, who's probably played his best game for the season today, he's been very desperate and disciplined.
As you said last week.
Well, he seems to be improving every week. I saw him a month ago and he was just a player, and in the last month he really has improved. Now Lockwood kicks that off. Armstrong gets there, and an ankle injury to Lockwood. Just feeling that very gingerly. Now Holm off the ground, just forces it forward soccer style. Can he get one more push from Hollett? The umpire was there, said nothing in that, and they'll just reset.
This is where they've got to have trained for a goal here. From a set play, like you can set yourself up here to manufacture a goal from this throw-in.
Ball's tossed in high. Chance here. Hollett, quick handball across. There's no time here to get fancy. No need to throw it around. Morton goes out wider. So easily can be turned on. The ball's gone, driven down. It's all red, white and blue jumpers. Scotty Lee, the body behind the ball, keeps it high. And Stephen Swert just goes for the safety of the boundary line. The Roosters player is just calling for deliberate. I'm sure the umpires will have none of that in these sort of conditions. So Stephen Swert, one of the most experienced players out there, with a time with the Adelaide Crows in the AFL. One of the better players in last year's grand final loss over the Magpies. Again, Morton picks the ball up. Very hard to pick up the players. Plenty of spillages out there. Desperation shown now by both sides. They realise the Magpies are in charge, and the Bulldogs realise they could lose their third game in a row.
It's not a good form coming into the finals. There'll have to be a lot of things sorted out at Bulldog land this week. For example, why would Miroszewski be taking that rack tap out in the forward pocket? Jeez, unbelievable. First use of the football and you've got a bloke that's 3 foot high taking the tap.
You're talking about just the team disciplines, Ken. Is that what you're on about? How would you rate the team disciplines today, Centrals versus North?
Well, I've been very disappointed. A few 50-metre penalties from the Bulldogs, very costly in the first quarter, and a number of different things. To me, this type of thing, like they've just continued to persevere, have North Adelaide.
Morton gets his third.
Terrific play.
Oh, it's good.
Well, while we just have a look at the replay of Morton, you might just tell us more about the Bulldogs.
Well, there's the exact setup in the other end of the ground, and it's Rosenboom who takes the football using his bulk intelligence to advantage. Morton on the run receives the handball and is so quick from hand to foot. Well, that's a brilliant goal. That's a disciplined goal. That's a goal that you train for. At the other end, Central's missed that opportunity, so it's a 2-goal turnaround. You just can't afford that when you're playing, sides that are just slightly above you or below you on the ladder. Like it's an even Steven game. You've got to make every post a winner.
13-4 versus 7 goals 5. Really put down your glasses. The Roosters are in total command. And that player, number 9, who kicked the last goal, Morton, he really has been the difference so far in this game. His 3 goals have been very good. Brazil Coffey goes for the boundary line. I think it may have carried a little bit too far. It's gone out over the line. Looks like Wintour's about to bring the ball back in. Awkward to torpedo punt forward. King's in there. Also Darren Holm, it looks like. Lockwood comes out, taken high. Umpire again misses it, allowing this game just to flow. Saywell comes out. Good balance onto his left leg. He's come out wide. He's trying to find Lewis. Lewis has got 3 red and white jumpers around him. They've kept it in, the boys from Prospect. Unfortunately, as I said before, this ball is slippery.
Once again, just highlighting how impressive the Roosters have been across half-back. They've just got numbers back there continuously all day, outnumbering their Bulldogs opponents and just simply switching play and taking it directly into their forward line. Saywell with the footy there has been very prominent for the Bulldogs.
Good. Up high, Cotton in front. Held his position very well. Again, we see ball thrown out over the top to Jones. Jones got the running good. Again, he's got time to get it straightened up. He has. Lockwood. Ball is smothered. Players diving over the football once again. They're holding the ball up. Jones is in there. Which way are they going to go? Evil. Very trying conditions. The ball's come out to Lockwood. Lockwood straightens himself up. I think he's kicked the goal. He has. So Bowen Lockwood kicks his first goal for the afternoon. But gee, Ken, was that hard?
It certainly was hard work, and Lockwood very lucky in the end to be on the end of it. Like, you've just got to be on your feet. You can't be laying down looking at what's going around of you. Lockwood there. Finally finishing up with the footy, but yeah, it did look a very difficult task. But perseverance, full marks, another goal to the Bulldogs.
Again, 82 plays 53. North still lead. 29-point margin. Daniel Holm. The ball's high. Herbert should take this. He does. Good safe hands. So Lucas Herbert at centre half back. He's got the moving Sanford out wide. The ball's carried that far. He's from behind. Couldn't quite control it. Behind was Conway. It's out wide again. Over was Evil. Should go for the boundary line. He does. He decides to hold up. Tackled beautifully by Gurdon. The umpire will come in and ball up. We just see Gurdon down there, just coming off the captain's side. Very, very difficult out there. As I said, a 20.9-point margin. We've played 24 minutes into this third quarter. 13-4-82 plays 8 goals, 5-53. There's a picture of their captain, Rob Popplestone. Is it that difficult, as I'm calling from up here?
I think it's even worse. Niles, let me tell you, another change just about to be made by North Adelaide while I've got the microphone in front of me. Herbert will come off in a few moments' time and Foden will come back on for the Roosters.
As Steinberner snaps around the corner, goes towards goal. It's offline. Cook just keeps it in. He's dragged off the ball by Whittle and then umpire says it's a free. So Cook gets one for being held when not in possession. And will have a shot for goal. Well, both players were holding on. Now Cook's brought it into Matty Jones. So Matt Jones with 3 kicks and 1 goal. Lines up directly in front, about 20 metres out.
Kick this, David, will add to an interesting scenario. The Bulldogs will be kicking with a strong breeze in the last quarter.
Well, they're not out of it yet, although the way they're playing, perhaps he's 30 metres out as he kicks for goal. It's going to drop short. The heavy ball, heavy wet ball. Look at this, all North Adelaide at the fall of the ball. Potter. Kick was smothered. Crashing through. Holm couldn't get clear. Another pack and another throw up. You know, the match is being played around town today. Norwood by 1 point over Port. It's a tight one at the parade. Sturt by 28 points over West Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. And the Eagles by 2 points south are clawing their way back into the game at Woodville Oval. Herbert coming off. Evil towards the boundary line. Bowen Lockwood seems to have recovered from that ankle injury. Goes hard at the ball with Viney in pursuit.
Showing a little more desperation now, the Bulldogs, in the dying moments of this third quarter. As they did, they rallied just prior to half-time. All they needs a little bit of a break to close the gap even more.
Viney gives the ball out. They're still running. Collins in front, keeps his ground, which you have to do in these sort of conditions. Ball's forward. This will run. I reckon Scotty Lee from the back pocket will be the first there. Intelligent play. That's a bit of showing a bit of experience. He's something straight for the boundary line. Switala will get there before his opponent. Unfortunately, the conditions really are testing both teams.
Good player by the youngster Switala, showing great in football intelligence there, forcing that ball to the boundary.
There's only 19. Coffey now doing some ruck work, tries to bring the ball down. Holm couldn't get clear. Finally, it's Switala just swamped, and that's out of bounds on the full by the North Adelaide player in Davis. The Potter plays on quickly, pushes into Jones. Sutherland did very well to recover the ball. He lost it comprehensively at one stage. Coffey can't mark, loose ball falls. Now players are losing their footing, and Morton pushes it forward. Scott Lee over the top of it. Oh, he got one. Parker got there late, and Scotty picks up a free kick.
No doubt about that one. Scotty, as he ever is.
And he just said, why don't you report him?
Scotty Lee.
Well, I don't think he'll get weeks on Tuesday night. I think anyway you cut it. It was unfortunate, but I don't know that it was necessarily a reportable one. Mazurowski, 2 bites of the cherry. Mark Pay.
Just as that was happening, David, I was just thinking about the training program the Bulldogs have been going through, the wet Elizabeth Oval. They really do look heavy in the legs.
Yeah, their oval's heavy as well. Just need to freshen them up. This is Warner on the left boot, going forward. Good contest was Parker. He's tough at the ball. He seems to have really got himself involved in the game in this third quarter. This is little Chris Robinson, wide. Oh, just over the top of it. Jeffries couldn't quite control it, just inside the line. Finally, it's across for a throw-in.
That's good close-up vision there of just how wet that footy is and heavy. We might be taking a little bit away too from the Roosters, like by saying the Bulldogs look heavy in the legs. Perhaps it's the fleet-footedness of the Roosters that is so dominant.
The 28.5-minute mark, still 29 points to the Roosters. The ball's come to ground. This is Morton. Back to King. King onto his boot. Will Collins keep it in? I don't think he has. The umpire indicates it's out over the line. So we'll be brought back in by Stephen Swerve. A few chuckles in the background.
You just can't keep all the supporters happy all the time, can you?
We've got a supporter here right in front of us, Mark, who's just helping us with our commentary, and also the umpires and also the players. So it's great to see grassroots football supporters just following their team. This is really grassroots football.
Well, it's a good hard contest, David. Like, it's not only flash, but it's been honest all day. There's been a lot of ball ups and pack situations where the Roosters have been a little better, I think. That's why the difference in the scoreboard, but it has been a tough, hard game.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're giving an honest account of themselves, both teams, as Steinburner just crashes along the grandstand wing, pushes it in. This is Jared Cotton over the top of it. Pollock's worn him pretty well today, but Cotton has kicked 3 goals towards full forward. Underneath this one, Lewis tries to gather it in. Cook over the top of it, unable to take control, and Wintle holds the ball in the area. You weren't happy with that, Ken?
Oh, gee, the ball was there to be had.
There to be had?
Yes. Back on his left foot and slip one straight through.
So the siren sounds at three-quarter time here at Prospect Oval, and the margin 29 points in favour of the Roosters, and you'd suspect from here, Ken, they can go on with it, although the Bulldogs have the breeze what there is of it in the final term.
They certainly do, but they'll need to find an injection, a spark from somewhere, which they haven't been able to do all day. It has been the midfield, such as Morton, Sutherland, Gurkey, who's now off the ground, that have been pretty dominant for the Roosters. I think Sanford's played particularly well at centre-half forward also. And that really is where they've been just clearly superior. Steinburner and Saywell have probably been in the best for the Bulldogs. Captain Roger Girdham has also tried all day. Hicks has done a particularly good job at fullback and centre-half back at times.
So the scoreboard here at three-quarter time reads North Adelaide 13 goals 482. They're leading the Bulldogs, which they have for most of the afternoon. Central District are 8 goals 553, and you're sitting home nice and warm, I hope, watching this game live on ABC Sport.
.29 points the margin at three-quarter time in favour of the Roosters here at Prospect Oval. And don't forget, we'll be leaving you today at 4:30 for a special ABC news service, and then followed by the funeral of Diana, Princess of Wales. We're sorry for footy fans that we can't be with you for the final quarter, but I hope you'll understand that there are some pretty important things going on in the world away from football today. Meanwhile, the third quarter full of highlights, some great running play, some hard tackling, and I think you'll agree it's some honest football.
Just see here, Collins driving the ball up forward. Good mark taken, and eyes only for the football was Paris Felton. He went back around about 20 minutes. That player again, Collins, kicking the ball up. Another good mark taken out in front by Jeffries.
That's where the report of Scotty Lee took place, so judge for yourself at home. I dare say he'll be lining up with the Guernsey on again next week. A penalty given also and the easiest of goals for the North Adelaide side. Lewis in screen, number 13. Good handball inboard and quickly long kick into the full forward area where Cotton was able to judge it best and simply turn around and put it through for his third goal. Scotty Lee there making one of his rare mistakes. Don't you just hate that when you kick out from fullback and the bloke kicks it straight back over your head?
Yes. Embarrassing too, Mark, aren't they?
Yeah, this really was the goal that really, I believe, may have sealed it. That's King again for his second one. I thought it may have been Danny Morton coming through. This is the one here that I liked. The big fella in Rosenberg across to Morton. Now, Morton Phelps has had 29 possessions up to three-quarter time. He definitely is best on ground in my books.
And here is the last goal of the quarter, where Evil just misses it. Lewis feeds it out. And coming in Lockwood, who just finishes it off beautifully for the Bulldogs.
they were still 29 points down at three-quarter time. As we go down to Rob Popplestone. Rob, I don't think Centrals can win. What did the coaches have to say in a final wrap?
Behind me, firstly, DB, Coach Stevie Wright actually believes Central Districts can win. They felt as though that last 15 or 20 minutes they approached the ball harder than they ever have in the previous 2.5 quarters. And going home with quite a strong breeze in this last quarter, they're hoping they can track back that 25 to 30 points. On the other hand, of course, North Adelaide, the main word that they used both by supporters, players and also coaching staff was focus. Let's make sure we focus on this last 30 minutes of football. Let's not sit back on a lead we've got. Go home and play this last 30 minutes of home and away football before the final series. Played hard.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for your involvement today. It's difficult in wet conditions down on the boundary, so thanks to you. In other matches being played around town today at Norwood Oval, Norwood 5-10-40 lead Port 5-9-39, only a point in it at three-quarter time at the parade. At Adelaide Oval, it's 7-16-58 Sturt leading West 4-6-30, a 28-point margin at half-time at Adelaide Oval. At Woodville Oval, a progressive score late into the third quarter. That was 8-9-57 to 8-7-55. The battle for the wooden spoon is a 2-point ball game. Meanwhile, back here at Prospect Oval, there is the three-quarter time scoreboard. 13-4-82 North Adelaide, 8-5-53 the Bulldogs, 29 points. Morton has 3, King and Jeffries a couple for North Adelaide, while Cotton the leading goals kicker for Central. Statistically, North are ahead in the handball department, particularly, Ken.
Yes, they certainly have been better around the packs and throw-in situation where the neutral ball has been up for grabs. The Roosters have cleared the footy more effectively from that situation and have used it very, very well into their forward line. Morton, the best player on the ground, as Mark Naley correctly called, has been very, very damaging. He's relentless in his run and he just keeps getting to contest after contest and has really been something special to watch here today. You can see they're basically pretty even apart from the handball situation. Again, North Adelaide's strength, but where they've used it well today, they've switched the ball well from defence and then they've come inboard across half forward and that's why they lead so well. It was about the 20-minute mark of that first quarter, David, where they got away, and that's the difference in the game at the moment.
Well, Ken, I'll ask you as we come back to us quickly next week. Sturt play North in the elimination final. Port plays Central in the qualifying final. Who's the favourites there?
Oh, look, I like North Adelaide, I must say. I've been very impressed with them since about midway through the year when they got their act together. I think they'll go well.
Good on you. Thanks for that. Now, if you're leaving us now with the coverage, don't forget to tune into 5AN 891 on the AM dial. They'll continue the coverage on radio of this match between North Adelaide and Central District. Join us 3:30 next week for SANFL Finals footy. I'm sure you'll be pleased with what goes on. It's North versus Sturt in the elimination final and Port versus Central in the qualifying final. Good night from Prospect Oval for now.